burning brightly, shining on those memories. And yes, across all time I see you turning the tides. And do you see now our time, our turn? We can still fight like the wind and fire, and wonder no more that now is the only time your heart is mine.
Welcome back, everyone, to Marvel Rivals Ignite. I said it was going to be a quick hydration break. Don't you worry, as we've got now Sentinels versus Yeah We Lost. I'm joined by Vicky once again. Vicky, final thoughts from that previous game and leading into this one. How are you feeling?
Hey, listen, that was a banger of a match. Even if it ended in a 3-0, it was a lot closer than it looked like, especially on those first two maps. And if this is how we're going to open up our first day of American playoffs, Gaskin, I'm expecting every single one of these series following up afterwards to be one heck of a banger.
Well, I'm already joined by one queen on the broadcast, but why not make it two? We have a special guest from Sentinels herself. We have Aramori, who's going to be joining us as well. Of course, a very familiar face and name that I'm sure you all know. Aramori, thank you so much for jumping on the broadcast with us. It's a pleasure. How have you been finding the game so far?
Oh my gosh, that last game was a banger. I feel like I'm gonna lose my voice from screaming today. We only have 2 matches. Like, that game was an absolute banger. I'm super excited to watch the next one for sure.
And of course, the next one is it's close to home for you for good reasons. How are you feeling about the Sentinels players? How are you feeling about confidence going into this one? Do you think they'll be able to take it against Yeah We Lost?
Well, I think today, all of the Sen players, you'll see, right? They have their cameras on and everything, but they're in person at a boot camp at the Sen headquarters, which is really, really cool. So I think they're going to have that boot camp buff. But Yeah We Lost is not a team to underestimate at all. I think a lot of teams are really apprehensive about playing Yeah We Lost because they play a lot of that like off-meta, really strange picks and seem to get like a lot of value in making it like a deathmatch sort of thing. So I think Sen will win, of course, easy, 3-0, but Yeah We Lost is definitely a scary, scary team. So this is going to be a fun match. I'm really excited to see what they bring, for sure.
Honestly, Ara, I think it's lovely. Not only are you not, you're wearing red, right? You got the makeup to match on top of it. I love your energy. And I know you have a lot of fans at home who have been following your streams, following your story. Any tricks that you could share with our general audience, looking ahead, you talk about a lot of these teams that may help them within their own respective gameplay when they're climbing through ladder?
I definitely think I see a lot of strategist players because, me, I'm a strategist player. I see a lot of strategist players not value their own life. Like, they'll try to, overextend to help people that are already feeding and already gonna die, and then it gets them KO'd as well. So, yeah, I would like to see strategist players, value yourself. You're so important for your team. Value your own life, for sure.
Who are you maining at the moment in 8.5 or more?
Honestly, White Fox with her new pink outfit skin, she's looking really, really good. That's all I'm saying. And she's super fun and super good this season. So lots of Luna, lots of White Fox for sure. For sure.
Wait, how many balloons did it take?
Oh, sorry, yeah.
I have to ask.
Oh my god, I got so lucky. I got Loki in 2 and White Fox in 1. I got streamer luck.
Oh, what?
So gambling works.
Man, it takes me every balloon every single time. I need to get some of your luck. I'm curious. Marvel has a wealth of heroes, right? There's so many that could be added to this game. Do you have a favorite Marvel hero that you'd like to see added that isn't in the game yet?
I'm so glad you asked. I'm waiting for Drax because I think Drax and Mantis together would be so cute. And I'm also a huge fan of Gamora, so I would love to see another freaking awesome woman in the game, and I would love to see Drax added as well. I think he would be really cool.
Ooh, I know that our group commenter on a lot of our YouTube videos will definitely be very happy. I know that guy at Frame1 has been asking for Drax and Gamora since the very beginning of the dawn of time of the start of the Marvel Rivals esports YouTube channel. But I love to hear your thoughts too. You've already mentioned Yeah We Lost. You talk about these unorthodox compositions. Can you actually highlight maybe a favorite hero that you're not used to seeing that Yeah We Lost throws out onto the table?
Spider-Man's the obvious one, and then they've also just got an amazing Deadpool player, right? So we're just gonna see a lot of chaos, and I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
always the chaos. That's the way we like it. Last thing from me then. Let's say Sentinels have a dream run. They get to the grand finals. Who do you think they're facing in said grand finals?
That's tough, right? Like, I think everybody's got their eye on, Swamp Gaming. They did so well before. But I mean, today, just watching Team Liquid Citadel, I don't know. I think they've got it. Something about how they were playing today just makes me feel like they're going to be one of the two teams in the finals for sure. For sure.
Yeah, hard to go against TLC with how they're playing. Well, maybe Sentinels will make it all the way. Aramoy, thank you so much for joining us. Finally, where can we find you on socials? Are you doing watch parties? Like, where's your Twitch stream? And some final words to your community.
I am doing a watch party right now, twitch.tv/Aramori. You can find me on all socials, Aramori. And yeah, hi guys, thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming on. Take
you.
care. Enjoy the rest of the matches, and I'm sure we'll catch up with you in the future.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, Aria.
Absolute legend of the scene. It's always a pleasure when she jumps on the broadcast with us, Vicky, and some kind words to say about the rest of the Sentinel squad as we can now refocus on our matchup here. Sen versus we lost. She mentioned it. Sentinels, they're going to be playing all together on LAN. We've heard some things going on behind the scenes in terms of like who might be playing today. I heard some rumors that perhaps Oasis wasn't playing on the team, so I am curious to see kind of what happens here with this lineup. But certainly, Sen are still an absolute powerhouse of a team.
Yeah, honestly, this is going to be a very interesting look. And I say interesting because, I see Kurova's face out there together with Rye Maze and Crimzo. It's like, I go all the way back to seeing the team synergy that a lot of these individuals already have playing with each other in the past. But then you talk about the workup that Oasis and even Vision, who is flexed into this lineup, have been able to perform to get Sentinels to where they are today. So hopefully, being Kurova here, have you been able to have that time to adapt around how the meta has shifted, right? We saw Kurova roll out, by the way, at one point, like on the Adam Warlock earlier in the group stages, and then having to make the swap up over to the Invis. And it was like, do you need the hero that is the Adam, or are you going to start fixating your time onto the Luna that I know he's been streaming himself also playing? And going through a lot of these highlights, it's that flexibility that we keep having to call out, Gaskin, when you look at like a Titan like Team Liquid Citadel, who have been able to make that work, right? You take a page out of their Bible and you make sure that you are fixated on how you could try to replicate that, especially considering that, we lost, as you heard from Aramori, plays a lot of these unorthodox compositions.
Yeah, it's a very different team when you look at we lost, and the way they approach the game in general, the way they play the game, it is certainly an enjoyable time to watch. They do things a little bit differently around here, but some very familiar faces that you'll be used to, or I guess not their actual faces, but instead just some of their favorite Marvel heroes. The likes of Jitward, Kendrick, always putting on a show for us as well. Mask. If we see Mask on Thor today, I would be very impressed, but we'll have to see where they go and kind of what off-meta selection they give for us here, Vicky, because that's what they've kind of been known for, doing things a little bit different. They love to play dive as well, and I wonder whether they can cause some problems here for Set.
Yeah, when we take a look at some of their highlights, I mean, jeez, man, you're telling me I get to cast Gorova against we lost in the way that they have rolled out with some of these comps? It would be pretty hype if we do see the Masked Thor come out. Or will he get shut down with the amount of Wolverines that we've also seen into play, especially if you like a Cyclops go through? Sometimes it's going to have to be like a Prio ban out here, and then you get the fastball special on top of it all. And you talk about how Aramori likes to fixate on like Jitward and the interesting comps he's also showed us, whether it be the Daredevil, but it's specifically the Spider-Man, and of course the different iterations of Deadpool as he's gone over to the dual pool, the strap pool on top of it all. It's going to be crazy as we take a look at the side-by-side comparisons of how these two teams have been able to play.
Yeah, and I already alluded to it, right? Two very different teams. You can see it just through their stats alone. Less healing on the side of we lost, but more casualties as well because they get into more engagements, they take more fights, they take more risks. Whereas for Sen, it is more of a traditional style, if we can even call anything traditional at this point with Marvel Rivals. We're not that far into the game's lifespan, but already we're seeing more of a default style, like the likes of a 2-2-2, occasionally switching to 3 strats as well. But Sen like to play with a little bit more of a methodical focus, rather so than some of the risks that we see from we lost.
Yeah, and it's about being able to break through what is very left field, right? When it comes to Yeah, we lost, we know that they have a lot of fans rooting for them back at home, but we also have to highlight the boot camp buff that comes through after hearing Ara talk about how everybody from Sentinels is grouped up together here. And in-person vibes definitely help carry not only quick adaptations from either, being able to go through with your IGL, being Crimzo, who likes to lead the way for the rest of Sentinels, but also making those quick changes when it comes to dealing with a team like Yeah, we lost.
Yeah, can you deal with them is going to be the question. What answers do you have to them when things are getting a little bit tough and they're suddenly asking those questions of you? What are you going to have? Are you going to be able to switch quickly? Do you have the ability to make sure you can shut down some of the dive that we might potentially see from Yeah, we lost as well? Will Yeah, we lost switch things up and maybe go away from some of those typical dive heroes that we've seen as well? Perhaps they can pull something else. If you allow a Cyclops to get through, for example, maybe they will be into more of a kind of a poke or a brawl rather so than a dive. I'm just very excited to see where Yeah, we lost go with it. And that's no disrespect to Sen. I'm excited to see Sen as well. But Yeah, we lost always do provide that extra little bit of entertainment, Vicky. And we're heading to Krakoa to start our matchup here today, which neither of these teams played during the group stages.
Let me just say, by the way, Gaskin, that there must be some sort of blessing. I haven't had Celestial. We'll take that. Or Symbiotic Surface, actually, thus far, but I don't want to speak on that a little too early. Moving on to Krakoa, though, as our first map, you consider now the inclusion of Cyclops, and it goes back to our conversation when we started off our first series on is Zatex going to pop off like we've seen Zatex do before from Yeah, we lost. I would assume here that player would be on fire having the Cyclops in his hands. And then you look on the other side of Sentinels with the flexibility that Amazing has brought to the table too.
We did see Krakoa twice earlier in EMEA, and the bans went as you would have thought. We saw Rogue and Mantis taken away initially. Daredevil, Star-Lord, Rocket, Venom, and Cyclops were other heroes that were banned as well. And in the locks, we actually saw Cyclops get locked on one of the games, as well as Gambit, and then Gambit and Captain America and Luna being locked, depending on which game you look at. So, kind of similar to the meta that we've seen develop already here in Americas. The focus sometimes being target bans, of course, you have to keep that in mind when we talk about these statistics from other regions too. Like, you won't necessarily see a Venom ban coming through in these games unless they are particularly targeting someone. It's more going to be around just removing Mantis, removing Rogue, and then it's the game plan from thereafter.
You know what? And if you're Yeah, we lost, you throw out something out of left field, you go in with the score guard. No, I'm just joking. But yeah, that would be something that Yeah, we lost would probably lean into, when it comes to trying to throw the opposition off guard here as we get started with a pick in ban phase. But there's too much on the line here as it's the double Bantus and Sentinels opting to save Ultron Gaskin, which already tells me that maybe something Amazing's probably going to be rolling out with.
Yeah, that offers up potentially the double ban now onto both Mantis and onto Gambit for Yeah, we lost to take away from Sentinels. So they are certainly giving that one up. And maybe you also can ban Cyclops as well. You can ban 3 of the main characters that you're going to be seeing here as the lock does come through on the Gambit for Yeah, we lost. So now these bans are going to be interesting for Yeah, we lost. I'm very curious to see where they go with it.
Yeah, will they try to shut that down as a priority here as the Rogue is the next ban? You've already highlighted it. We've seen it so many times going from EMEA now to Americas with Rogue being a threat that she is. She's not necessarily in Gambit team-up jail, and with the protection onto the Gambit from Yeah, we lost, they're hovering over what that next ban is going to be because now Sentinels banning that Rogue means that Yeah, we lost will not have that team-up after they protected the Gambit.
And also with the changes that Sentinels have to have, in terms of their personnel here, at the moment, it is very much a strategist target from Yeah, we lost. And I think that is for good reason, trying to make Sentinels a little bit uncomfortable with the changes that they've made in their team and their structure. As Sentinels will ban out Hulk away from Yeah, we lost. Again, we know that Yeah, we lost can bring out something a little bit different, and they are going to protect the Angela. This is an entirely different lock and ban phase than what we saw from earlier, and that will mean that Yeah, we lost are going to be pulling out something a little bit different indeed.
Now I'm thinking about it too. After we saw the Ultra Protect in our last series, just to allow Speedery to roll out on Harder Than Heaven, this is like the second time we've ever seen Ultron now protected throughout the course of today, right? And of course, it is only day number 1, but that's just something to keep in mind with that priority to protect as they finally go through and protect the Gambit, which is insane for me to say, by the way. Seeing Gambit last this long without getting banned, as Yeah, we lost, they wanted to just prio ban this Rocket instead.
Maybe that Yeah, we lost feel like Gambit is going to be a more difficult hero for the Sentinels backline to play as well. And then the Adam Warlock ban comes out. So they are leaving
Rogue
up, by the way. But that is 4 strategists banned away from Sentinels. This is quite clearly a game plan.
Garova, the Garova has to not go and take the mantle of the Adam Warlock because he is not allowed to play it. So this is going to be interesting. I do like your mention too on maybe not feeling that Sentinels has a threatening gambit. And that's kind of been something we've talked about when it comes to Sentinels. Like, what are they lacking? What are some teams expecting from them? Are they not even going to waste that ban at that point and try to prioritize other bans? It is a best of 5, which changes things here moving forward in our double elimination bracket when it comes to how a lot of these teams have that longer time to make that adaptation, change up their pick and ban phase. But we are getting settled, Gaskin, into our second series of the day. It's going to be Yeah We Lost versus Sentinels for our first map.
And yeah, we lost. They say, all right, Oasis ain't playing. He's on the bench. Well, let's test out your new strategist. And we're going to remove 4 of your pool and make it even more difficult. But if Sentinels can still get it done, will be even more impressive here. But what that does open up is, of course, the ability to play things like Rogue. It also opens up a lot for the duelists to be able to have the freedom of their hero pool as well. So Sentinels will need to show what they can do with this much selection available to the other roles as we're into it now.
The fact that Mask rolls out on the Angela too, like, you know, if you got the other side of the coin, it's not gonna be the Thor, it's gonna be the Angela, her sister, instead. And now you're gonna be seeing the 1v1 duel as currently already feeling the pressure is gonna be Yusher rolling out on the Star-Lord. The fact too, by the way, that both teams have Cyclops available and Zatex takes on that mantle while Sentinels still trying to make this triple strategist lineup work. Good luck flying around this one because Max is gonna have a field day.
Yeah, Mash just ripping Rymazing out of the sky, and now Sentinels are already going to be a player down, so it might be first point going in favor of Yeah We Lost, unless Sentinels decide to try and stall this one out, but they're not even going to have the chance to. They've already lost 2, 3, and they are all dropping as easy as that. So Yeah We Lost applying the pressure. And again, you know, this isn't the craziest comp I've ever seen. Sure, it's a little bit different having the Angela available, but this is all something that is very common at the moment in 8.5.
Yeah, that's very true, right? And then when you can expect, I mean, you see the Ultron Protect, right? Why not immediately come out of the gates with the counter? And that is going to be up to Maskin and Zatex together with a 3-2-1. It's going to be so much pressure to deal with. That's why you see the swap up. And Rymazing now himself gets a take on the Cyclops too. Mats is gonna be able to go right back to help heal for the backline because it called up Crimzo, who's trying to go in for a back cap. Yeah, we lost though. Are gonna be playing around these tree stumps too and feeling the pressure as Anthel does get frozen for now. A great peel from Zatex, just gonna be able to falter a lot more of that damage. And Matt finds Rymazing again, even if he made that swap up.
Dongmin is able to get 1. Crimzo follows up as well, so that's 2 KOs go in favor of Sen, and perhaps they've finally been able to break through. But Mask still just trying to bully at the moment. Flame's going to be the target. And can you stay up is the real question. No, you can't. So even though they've been able to get KOs on the board, you've still got Mask causing a problem on the backline, but finally gets shut down. And it looks like Sen should be able to convert this point in their favor. But in the moment, yeah, we lost, are just stalling out as best as they can.
And as long as they can, like they're literally already nearing like 70%. It took them that long to deal with Luca, who finally falls, and they finally flip the point in their favor. Jitward still takes the 1v1 versus Rymazing. Third time going down, it seems like here. And Crimson and Dogman at least have these 2 ultimates coming up, as well as the rest of Sentinels once they are regrouped.
Regroup, and now we're going to see Dongmin again on this van pool, causing a little bit of a problem for Yeah We Lost, but with Yusha going down now, Sentinels again up behind, so they have to start popping some ults here, but Yeah We Lost respond with some of their own.
The fact that you have the ante from the Feast of the Abyss to follow up right after Zatex had that Ruby Rage and so much damage to deal with, and Sentinels, they put 1 toe on the point, and just as quickly, Yeah We Lost snatch it from them.
For those of you who haven't seen much Cyclops in your games, or you haven't necessarily been able to play Cyclops because of your ranked games as well, is the ability for Cyclops to survive, how he can move around and avoid some of the damage that's coming their way. Great survivability. Speaking of, Mask also getting in the face of Sentinels at the moment as Galactic Legend gets popped, but there is going to be the counter with the fate of both worlds.
Xantho's looking on phase 2, right? You have the counter, you keep everybody alive. Rymazing now looking into go. Oh, the charm! The charm and the kiting did not work out for Rymazing. He immediately gets shut down. Korova 2 to answer right back, but you're nearing 99% now for Yeah We Lost. They've lost out on Mats, who's going to be able to quickly get back into the action.
And Jitwood is going to have Let the Devil Out available to him and will start to apply that pressure to the backline, followed up with the damage from Zatex. Rymazing trying to counter with one of his own, but I don't think it's going to be enough for Sentinels. Have lost 4-5 and they will be done. First round goes in favor of Yeah We Lost, and they looked very comfortable indeed.
I'm getting a little bit of deja vu, Gaskin. We had the Cyclops from Energy on TLC in our first series pop off. You let that go through here, and yeah, we lost. We talked about it before, expecting Zatex to take up that mantle, and he's done so successfully. 8 finals, by the way, only going down twice. Well, Flamme is not having a great day. I mean, the fact that you have not been able to stay alive, too, you're getting harassed here from Mats, who was taken to the skies. It's forced Amazing to swap 3 different times now. This third swap being onto the Daredevil makes you wonder where that bread and butter that you want to rely on the Raging Royal Flush together with Yusher and that Galactic Legend was just stopped shortly, too, and it's kind of slowing down the pace of Flamme and building up this ultimate.
With the bans that came out from Yeah We Lost as well, targeting that backline, I mean, it's evident it's working at the moment. Gambit, White Fox, not the easiest heroes to play, and of course I expect them to be able to play them to a certain standard, but if it is not mains for them, if they're still learning them in the way off the back of replacing Oasis, there is always going to be, you know, how do they perform in a tournament setting? And at the moment, they have not been able to get going. Yeah, we lost. The strategy has very much worked so far, and they've been able to take full advantage of the slow start here from Sentinels.
And I'm a little worried, too, going into this round, too. Luca's about to have another Feast of the Abyss together with that and Kendrick being able to keep everybody alive with the Kumio Unleash. Amazing, just looking to keep up this pressure here. They call that where Mats gets up above their foreheads. The next pick goes out. Fortunate here for Amazing to be able to go down here. And Kendrick, together with that Feast of the Abyss, as well as the Kumio Unleash, allows Yeah We Lost to walk up for free.
Should be able to capture this one as well, Sen. Probably won't try and contest too much. Instead, they're going to back off, try and regroup and reassess. But Crimzo just gets ripped from the sky as well. Zatex having a field day at the moment. I wish I had the ability to play Cyclops in all of my games. And Zatex showing just how powerful Cyclops can be in the right hands, as now Ruby Rage is going to be available to him as well.
I just want to see more communication here from the duelists between Yusher and Amazing. Yeah, we saw those finals early before, and Yusher's just trying to help get these follows, but look at the fact that they're also feeling this pressure by the choke of their spawn room gates. It's just getting a fly swatter and swatting Mats to stop being a nuisance because the harassment onto this backline is just too much. Rallying up the troops with his freedom charge, though, is going to be Crimson to lead the way, and it's a great first pick to fight Jitward as Kendrick falls next. Beautiful freeze up to Santos, and this is going to be Sentinels to take over the point.
Yeah, that was a very well-planned attack. That's what we need from Sentinels. You know, we talk about how their balanced gameplay, their strategic style, when they are able to all communicate in a certain way and engage, and they're all on the same page, very difficult to play against. So a well-thought-out fight for Sentinels, and they will finally get their hands on the point after 42% goes in favor of Yeah We Lost. But now off the rip, Yeah We Lost are going to have ults available, but so do Sentinels. They have the better ult economy at the moment to work with.
And you got the Ruby Rage coming in to try to find people. They're stuck over to the side corners. They take a huge chunk of that damage. No follow-up, though, as Sentinels were able to kite away nicely. Raging Royal Flush now activated, but Santos was ready with the Fate of Both Worlds. It's going to be a dance up to stop the 3-2-1 of Yusher and the Galactic Legend. Beautiful way for Yeah We Lost to stay in this fight and to stop 2 ultimates that Sentinels needed to win this fight.
Zaptho able to pick up 2, by the way, and again, we're seeing why Luna gets banned, because she is just so detrimental to a team if you've got someone who can play her correctly. Zatex gets 2 KOs as well, and Yeah We Lost will regain. So it was short-lived for Sentinels. They put 34% on the board. Yeah We Lost gained control again, even technically with the worst ult economy. And now look at the ults available to them as well. Mask looking to be a pain in the side right now, a thorn in the side of Sentinels.
Oh my gosh, the moment you saw that Kumio Unleash, it was deleted. And you see the charm coming through right afterwards from Korova, who answers back. Dogman falling incredibly low. They did lose out on Amazing earlier. Santos has been on point, but finding a lot of these picks here. But it's not going to be a flip here as the Sentinels are struggling to get right back after Yeah We Lost are now nearing 85%.
An important switch up for Yusher over onto Cyclops as well, and you really have to answer now the amount of damage that is being output on the side of Zatex. The 2 ults get popped in tandem for Yeah We Lost. That Feast of the Abyss able to convert alongside Mask to take down 1, with the White Fox being out now. That's one of the strategists falling, and Sentinels may struggle in this fight. It looks like that is happening.
Yeah, and they're not even gonna have time right now to portal play as overtime is taken away. They're now making this up. Here we go. Korova does manage to get that swap up right on time, and they keep this fight going. One by one as they fall, they're just trying to stall for as long as they can, but they're dropping like dominoes, and they're down 3. They try to contest here with 3 at least up, but they have no ultimates. Crimson with the Freedom Charge is more than enough to keep everybody alive from Sentinels. With overtime just at risk, a pixel away in Yeah We Lost's hands. Santos was ready with the Fate of Both Worlds as Zatex, Ruby Rage right through the mouth of the portal. They go one by one, and yeah, we lost. They clutch out in the end, and they stop Sentinels from even being able to flip back on that second round.
Ruby Rage really is one of the perfect ults to counter people trying to come through the portal, right? It's just such a big damage output. As they all come through in the same position, you Ruby Rage in the right place, it is as easy as that, and we will see. First map going in favor of Yeah, We Lost. It looked comfortable for them. Sentinels didn't have enough answers in the end, and the game plan from those lock and bans certainly worked here for Yeah, We Lost.
Makes you wonder how a lot of the other teams really reflected on how Flamme has kind of not been able to really take on that Gambit mantle. And even with the Gambit, we didn't even see the Rogue coming out. But can these changes bring about for map number 2? We're going to find out where we're going to be going to on the other side of this break.
Winters again. We are rebels till the end. Rising, having your 한껏 높이 날아올라 내 누워진 방바늘을 가로질러 Oh yeah, oh yeah 필요할 때 내가 널 지켜줄게 간절히 바라면 이루어지는 마법인 거야 운명의 소리 들려 여기서 저기서 날 찾으면 달빛이
정오의 시간!
I outnumber you. Your powers are mine!
Assemble! Sorry, soldier.
Welcome back, everyone, to Marvel Rivals Ignite, and there are the 3 new beautiful skins added to the game. Captain America's hitbox got a little bit bigger from what I can see. The Seaside Sentinel, the Coastal Camino, or the Seaside Siren, all available now in-game from July 2nd, of course, until July 31st here, Vicky. I know you are also going to be grabbing some of these skins, aren't you?
Oh yeah, the moment that the series is done, Gaskin, I'm just being transparent with everyone. I am popping those balloons and I am trying to go for that White Fox in frame 1, man. Those 3 different color iterations, the fact that you could customize her hat, and then we got like Husky Captain America over there onto the side. I mean, what better way to take a look at our summer skins than to continue on with some of these bangers of skins that Marvel Rivals just keeps releasing time and time again. And make sure you guys let us know how long it took for you to pop those balloons, get that beautiful woman Loki skin out here too in her bathing suit, as well as our Kumio summer skin too. But Gaskin, we talk about, White Fox in general. We talk about some of the pick and ban phase, and I have to talk about that last series. I feel like maybe everyone heard it in my voice, baby. The fact that I sounded deflated because tell me how you get Cyclops available to be played for Sentinels. You do not rely on Cyclops. You don't even got a Wolverine because unfortunately we don't have that flexibility if you're looking at Sentinels. And then on top of it all, you don't rock either Rogue or Magneto to flow in with the Gambit team up. As we take a look at our MVP from We Lost after they took map number 1, it goes over to Kendrick. And again, goes hand in hand with that Coastal Kumiho skin with White Fox still showcasing how dominating they are.
Yeah, I think that it shows a lack of flexibility from Sentinels a bit. I'm slightly disappointed that we didn't see the Rogue especially. Like, there's a reason why Rogue has been banned almost every single time so far in playoffs, whether it's in EMEA or whether in Americas, alongside Mantis, because she's so good. And especially if Gambit is getting through, it's disappointing. I hope that Sentinels, off the back of it, can make sure someone is learning Rogue, or perhaps they just didn't feel like it was right on that map. I don't know, maybe we'll see something a little bit different. But that felt like it was won in the lock and ban phase for me. We Lost clearly had a strategy. It definitely worked. They targeted the backline of Sentinels, and they were not able to recover. As we look now at some of these stats here, Vicky, anything that stands out for you?
Yeah, the fact that the Hulk ban didn't even work against We Lost. Maybe looking at the fact that Jitward is just the threat that he is. 32-3, like, are you kidding me? 12 finals, and then Zaytex farming for free on the Cyclops, having 16 finals. And then you match that together with, like, obviously, we've seen Luca display a great Hulk, but, like, obviously, that's not even a problem here when he gets the rollout on the Venom and follow up with Jitward. And then you match that together with the White Fox and Luna team up. You get the double charm while you're at it, and top of a freeze, and it shuts down what Amazing was trying to go for, needing a little bit of help. We saw some swaps at the very end, but too little, too late, even when we had Krova make that swap over the Strange, just so that way he could get that portal play in.
Yeah, it just didn't really work out for Sentinels. There was a few times where, when they had planned coordination, they were able to take a little bit of time to assess how they wanted to take the fight against We Lost. They were able to win those engagements, but a lot of the times, like on the fly, they sadly were losing out in skirmishes that perhaps they could have done a little bit better had they had a few heroes that would just been able to change here or there if they had a deeper hero pool. So, map 1, won by We Lost, both in the lock and ban phase and, of course, with the point on the board. Will we see now a slightly different approach to the lock and ban phase from Sentinels? And are we going to see the same thing from We Lost, where they say, hey, look, it worked. If ain't broke, don't need to fix it. They'll probably continue to go down the similar path here.
I definitely agree, especially when it comes to trying to dismantle that backline here. And it's all down to what our second map is. And for those of you guys just tuning in, remember, it is a best of 5. So that little room for error is slowly starting to close in the gap. And we will be moving on to Midtown off of Sentinel's pick.
Yeah, Midtown is going to be an interesting one indeed. I'm just trying to find stats real quick. But it is one of those where, with Sentinels taking this now, does it mean that they have the advantage? Have they been able to practice a little bit more on it? Perhaps one of those maps that they've been able to really take a deep dive on, been able to watch a little bit of VOD here or there to prepare, because by the looks of it, they haven't played it so far this season. Neither has We Lost. So, again, similarly to the strategy we saw in the previous series against TLC, maybe Sentinels are saying, all right, let's make sure we take them out of their comfort zone a little.
Yeah, and I do think it's interesting because if you look at our first series, right, we did go for map number 2 on Convergence to try to rely on the different maps that we may feel like is our strongest, right? And obviously, like, just dealing with that titan of a team, TLC, it's hard. But then you look at the fact that we're moving on to Convoy for map number 2, which leaves Convergence up for map number 3, going the distance here to see what Sentinels could do differently against We Lost.
Well, players are focused, players are ready. Now we're going to have to see whether there's a change of strategy here. I'm a little bit worried for Sen. I think that they're going to be hurt, of course, with the benching of Oasis. I don't know the ins and outs of that, by the way. I'm going to be very transparent with everyone. I heard about it yesterday. I don't know why it happened, and I don't need to even speculate as to why it happened. The fact of the matter is, it did happen. They are going to be without Oasis, and I think it was evident in that matchup. That's no disrespect to the replacement, of course, but I do worry. I worry for how this progression is going to go. Anyway, into our lock and ban phase as Mantis is removed as expected.
I like being able to just dive into how that can influence the way that Sentinels are going to go into that pick and ban phase, right? And yeah, we lost, like you already mentioned, you know, just go into what your game plan was in the pick and ban phase at the very beginning for map number 1. Target that backline, and there you go, no rocket, and that's great too, because yeah, we lost, you know, if that's something that Sentinels want to take a page and try to fixate on, yeah, we lost, they are on the defense. We know that rocket comes in clutch, especially if you set up that BRB beacon right there on the lip of the rooftop right before that first choke. If they get around the corner, is great here on Midtown. The Daredevil Protect, and that's big too, because if I was Sentinels, that would be my target focus, because Jitward was able to get away with so much.
So much. Like, just had so much freedom as well. Looked like he was playing so comfortably. There was no answer really on the other side, and I'm sure he was having a lot of fun to do so. But we'll see the lock for Sentinels onto the Gambit, and then the ban away from the Gambit as well. So that was more similar, but for Yeah We Lost, it is the same strategy they're going for. It is targeting those strategists left, right, and center. So I was wondering whether Sentinels would do a little bit more protection of the strategists. You know, were they going to perhaps try and help them in that case?
Right, because then you have to consider here what that final protect is going to be. I mean, they want to prioritize the Gambit, but we saw what happened, like when Flamé was unable to really get anything started. And even with that, and you have the wombo combo of like the Raging Royal Flush and the Galactic Legend, there's only so much you could do if you have Luna, which Yeah We Lost do end up protecting. Having the Fate of both worlds, just holding on to it the whole time, just denying that win con that Sen wants to lean into. As we see what this last protect is for Sentinels, do they want to commit to maybe Adam Warlock? If we could expect Yeah We Lost to probably ban that out last like they did on the first map.
It's gonna be Loki. Okay, so they are certainly trying to help out the strategists a little bit, and they are maybe looking at seeing if they could do things a little bit differently going into this one. But it does still open up one more ban for Yeah We Lost, of course, and they can have fun with this one, I think. There is so much they could go for. They probably leave the Rogue up again because the Rogue wasn't even played. Thing is going to be the ban here on this one as well. We know how good Thing can be if you leave up certain heroes.
What?
But yeah, that's gonna be taken away.
Dude, this is actually crazy. All right, why not just unleash the beast? You got the Jitward Daredevil. You're going to expect Venom rolling out once again from Luca, because you saw that once again Sentinels actually fixated on banning out the Hulk. But then you also have Mask, who could play very flexible, right? Because then you could have Mask roll out. They won't be able to have the team up, but we've seen the Rogue before. Now we've seen the Angela. Obviously the Pride and True Thor. A lot on the line here. If you are a Sentinels fan, show them your energy. Hashtag Sen City. Or is Yeah We Lost gonna be another Yeah We Won situation as we roll out of the gates here with Yeah We Lost on the defense, and once again goes hand in hand with having that rocket and the BRB that's gonna be so strong here.
The Thing ban. I mean,
No
there's a first time
anti-dive
for
allowed.
everything. Quite literally, the first time we've seen it in EMEA or Americas. So, yeah, there's clearly something different that Yeah We Lost are planning. They know something that we don't, perhaps, but that is going to open up plenty for Sentinels. You can already see they are hovering at the moment Cyclops, they're hovering Wolverine, and they are hovering the Rogue. Are we actually going to see the Rogue come out now? Because, boy, did we need it in the previous. This looks like a far better composition when you look at what Sentinels have to offer. Question is, can they play it effectively?
Yep, that is it, because they're doing everything I wanted to see. By the way, Mask on the Devil Dino. We've been putting that puppy away and really haven't seen too much of the Devil Dino after the last nerfs, but Mask playing split up on the high ground here before diving in. It's going to be Luca back over onto that Venom, but Mask taking a huge chunk of that damage means he will be brought back by the BRB, but that's going to be a pretty big cooldown as Crimzo going to be able to roll out not only here on the Rogue, but almost like a bait and punish after you see that Yeah We Lost committed to that Thing ban.
Yeah, show us what you got, Crimzo. It's a very important role that you're playing at the moment. Ryan Amazing will take down Jitward as well. So great communication from the team to make sure Jitward wasn't able to just play freely behind the back line, and Sentinels begin to push. The strategy seems to be employed correctly this time, and also Yusha on this Wolverine has been doing work to really counter the Devil Dino.
I also really like, just aside from the nerfs onto Devil Dino, how great that also enables Wolverine aside from the team up themselves as Dogman capitalize off the team up with the Gambit. They didn't lose Crimzo earlier. Dogman does get frozen, and there goes that Sia, the fastest strategist ultimate in the game, just so that way the rest of Yawilas can reconvene. No charm allowed. Xantho at least finds Dogman here at the very end, but it's going to be Yawilas holding the C-fence.
Yeah, now show us what the thing could do on just one side. It is a bullying hero. He really is able to lay the smacketh down on another team if he's played correctly. And yeah, Yawilas have been able to force Sen back now. So even though Sen were able to push this cart quite some way to begin with, they are suddenly locked right back into this building again as Mask is just going to hold on to the fort here alongside Luca whilst just being heavily healed here by Yawilas.
Sentinels at least. Oh, Xantho just backing away. He's got the health pack, though. It's fine. Just a little bit out of the action. But you see the Rage Reflux, which we do gotta go in with the fate of both worlds. No, out of the fight just temporarily. But then this means that you try to come test together. 3 members still up, rather 4, as Zatex uses that Ruby Rage. Finds Yusher in the process. So no reset here as he comes crashing down once he's back together with the rest of Sentinels. And Kendrick is trying to come back, too. He had that BRB originally, but no one's really there to contest him. Minus Jitward, who prevents this cart from reaching that first checkpoint.
Tries to delay, delays just enough for the ball to come through now from Yawilas, who will be able to stop the point. And Zatex able to find the pick onto Rymazing as they come through, but there's plenty of an ult economy here for Sen, as now Thing will start to lose back down yet again as Meteor M gets sent in, but Sen still haven't been able to find that pick.
Kurova being on the White Fox with the Kumio Unleashed, though, tries to keep everybody up. It comes crashing down. It's going to be Yusher isolating the Doctor Strange. Xantho's the next to fall. Yeah, we lost. Need some help, though, as Luca's the first next one to go down. And the rest of Sentinels, they finally get this first checkpoint. Team X-Men to me here as Sentinels, aside from, Kurova on the White Fox thinking she's part of the club. But you know what? Why not include her into this amazing hero lineup?
Crimzo with the switch over to Emma Frost as well, another fantastic Vanguard in the latest patch, very prominent, whether it be in your ranked games or of course now we're seeing in pro play as well. The switch over from Rogue, perhaps feeling like Rogue wasn't really doing enough against what Yawilas were offering, especially with Thing being part of that equation, as now Luca's going to switch over to Captain America as well to try and combat that. So changes all around at the moment as everyone trying to find the perfect recipe to counter the other.
Especially before they get around this next corner, right? You want to be able to play at that high ground position for Sentinels, rather the other side back here. And yeah, we lost here with Jitward having the devil out. Xantho's in Mask. They follow up. They find 2. That's unfortunate for Fumé, delaying another Rager Royal Flush. And Jitward is farming the rest of Sentinels as it's going to be a reset here in the spawn room gates.
Then did get it over halfway, of course, but now we reach this point, which can sometimes be a little bit of a choke and difficult for teams to try and break through. Sen are going to have that Ruby available on the side of Sentinels with Rymazing, but the Cyclops is not going to be able to do it on their own, especially when you look for Yawilas. They also have one to work with alongside the Sia that's going to be available as a counter to it. So Yawilas have the advantage when it comes to the ult, but can they actually put it into effect here?
Oh, Ruby Rage, so it's just going to be able to clear some space, and then the follow-up to find Dogman is even bigger, but it's a little trade-off here, as a BRB at least brings back Luca, Van Hammer too. Over to the other side as Rymazing backs away. Look at Kurova's positioning here, finding out where Zatex is positioned here, all the way up. Forces Kurova to just back away temporarily, wait for Crimzo, who makes the swap back over to the Rogue, so that way they can, again, capitalize off this team up. Even if the ammo wasn't working here, this was a lot better of a time. And now the Raging Royal Flush is the green light, as Luca brings everybody together. You get another Sia, but you've lost out on Mask, and your BRB was on cooldown. Deletes that Sia, but Rymazing just staring at Jitward, unfortunately, as Sentinels were down in numbers.
Yusha still alive could really be a problem for them at the moment. Is able to find one alongside the White Fox that's still alive, but Yusha just trying to delay and stall a little bit, seeing if the rest of Spawn can actually join them in this engagement at the moment. But Yawilas have done well to sustain themselves, and they're just able to keep people up and not allow Yusha to be able to dive in and kidnap. But Rymazing off Spawn takes down Jitward, who will come back from the BRB.
This is really smart, though. Even though they committed to 2 of those ultimates with the Kumio Unleash and Last Stand here, they were able to at least clear that space away from Yawilas. Dogman finding Jitward, but getting harassed. Luca finding the Gambit. Flamin needs some help. Perfect teleport here, but it doesn't even matter. You try to back away, and Luca has isolated the strategist. They need help on the peeling.
By the way, the switches for these Vanguards at the moment as they're constantly flip-flopping between their picks to try and counter the other has been insane. Dongmin moving over to Captain America now to try and answer back the cap on the side of Luca. Crimzo is going to hold on to Rogue because the ult's going to be available there. But now it's going to be potentially one last genuine push here for Sentinels before they're into the attempt of trying to portal off the back of it. Yeah, we lost holding strong here at point 2.
Jitward on the blind lifeguard skin too, by the way, while Zatex is too busy finding Usher. And then unfortunately, with Jitward getting another 2K, the duelists from Yeah We Lost continue to not surprise us time after time. Sentinels down to the last 30 seconds to get to the second checkpoint.
Yeah, do they have a portal available is going to be the real question here. Or are they just going to try and walk this one in initially? Feel like they can get there, but it's a very aggressive approach from Yeah We Lost, holding a high line at the moment to just try and hold Sen back and deny them from even getting a touch. So if you are on Sen, someone has to try and break through this.
And they with the Dogman making the swap over to Hulk. He comes in together while Crimzo taking these 1v1s, but no protection onto this backline. Zatex is running away with harassing Rymazing and Flamay. Now overtime comes ticking down. Sure, you forced it, but you're down 2, and you're so low. Really up to Korova, who does not have the Kumio on leash.
Rymazing will switch over to Doctor Strange, so they are going to have a portal. You just need someone to delay, which Yusha is doing exactly that. And it is just going to be long enough to allow this portal to just about get there, you would imagine. Overtime so close. Do not get there. Sentinels, they didn't quite stall out enough, and Yeah We Lost. The high line they held works out in the end as they take and they deny Sentinels the second point here.
You even saw, like, in the backfield here, a Luna Freeze coming out of the corner just in case they could get a little cheeky angle. But regardless, they were out of time. Sentinels, they tried everything, but nothing's sticking when your backline is getting harassed. That also goes hand in hand with the fact that Yeah We Lost get to play the Rocket. How many times did they have the Sia right on cue, whereas Sentinels, that was banned against them? It's not like they have the advantage of having that BRB, and even looking at the stats, Zatex is putting on a performance. Nearly 30 KOs, only going down twice with 12 final hits.
Now for Yeah We Lost, as they go into their attack phase, we look at, as you said, the stats. Zatex just 20k damage. Absolutely insane what you can do on a Cyclops. I think there is going to be a lot for Jitward to do here off the rip. If you can pick off one of these strategists, then Yeah We Lost might just be able to bully their way through. And we are seeing Mask hovering the Thor at the moment. This is exactly what I wanted to see, Vicky. I asked politely, and they have given.
Oh, they heard you. They heard you, Gas. I think everybody, though, right? Like, me being another one, like, I am ready to see how this plays out. I mean, also, I'll be real, like, considering the fact that they banned Thing would also technically enable the Angela, but we gotta see that Mask Thor rolling out as the counterpart instead. Right? So Yeah We Lost come out of the spawn room gates on the attack, and Flamay is gonna be on the Loki while Rymazing on the Adam Warlock instead as Korova's on the Invis.
Yeah, going for the 3-3 that we've often seen on the defensive side of some of these maps. Having that penny as well is going to have to be a focus for Yeah We Lost. There's already, you can see, ult available for the heal pull, the strap pull. And Yeah We Lost have lost one. The Cyclops going down. So Sen are holding strong at the moment. They take down Kendrick too. So the attempt at deleting that spider nest was very quickly dealt with. So attempt number 1 done. And Sen now need to revisit how they want... Yeah We Lost need to revisit how they break this spider nest, because that has to be focus point number 1.
Dogman Penny, if it's not on MOC, it's here on Midtown. And the fact that it's working out while they're going to be able to isolate Crimzo having those walls, it's going to be a thorn onto Yeah We Lost side here as Zatex near the gates here. Jitward, by the way, on Black Hat, we don't really get to see this very often. The fact we get it back-to-back is even better. I'm not surprised here. Rymazing Force already used this passive, harassing them as Jitward is playing like he's in Cirque du Soleil, hanging off of the tightrope before finding the Venom following up next. Kendrick does get the res onto Jitward.
Got Sen able to actually deny initially, but look at the push from Yeah We Lost, still managing to get this cart going. And with the Sia, they were actually able to delete some of the members of Sen, and the cart keeps moving. It moves away from the spider nest, and now off the back of it, Yeah We Lost able to utilize that Black Cat to really delete some of these players on the side of Sen. Karmic Revival does come through to at least get everyone back up, but Yeah We Lost still pushing.
That was so clutch here. The fact that Flamay was able to get that copy and get another one. Crimzo brings everybody together. He does get frozen, but the follow-up are there. And Yeah We Lost now go down. But it makes you wonder, was that Karmic Revival even worth at that point? Because nobody from Sentinels is going to go down. Maybe a miscommunication because they had the Strangling Prison as their advantage.
Another spider nest goes down, and we did see how Yeah We Lost. Zatex in particular was trying to target it, but I have to give credit for Dongmin really protecting it well, whether you're using the right click and the web to be able to just deny and basically stun the opposition and then get body block that spider nest. Fantastic work initially, but now look at the ult economy for Yeah We Lost. Everything to work with in this next fight.
And no Karma Revival for Sentinels to rely on. At least they will have the invisible boundary here, as now you have Dogman creating that space. The BRB once again coming in clutch. You have the invisible boundary, but you've still lost out on 3 in the process. A little too late here as they shut down Kurova next, right through the invisible boundary, and they reclaim the point.
Crimso's going to switch over to Doctor Strange to try and get a quick portal here. But are they a little bit too staggered? You can maybe be patient because they are not going to be taking that first point just yet. Wait for everyone up. That's exactly what happens as Dongmin spawns and switches over to Hulk as well. Jitwood gets the first pick onto Right Mazing though. Again, Adam Warlock being focused, as now you will see Sen just jumping on in to try and deny.
And Jitwood with a calling card, sending it in the mail. It's going to be able to clear up some more of the space. The Sia to add on to this. You get the Meteor M going all the way up, trying to destroy the Sia. Finally, the last hit does more than enough. And now Kendrick is isolated back here as Xanto is looking to form. All this fixation means that Xanto gets a 4K.
The 4K on the Luna, and again, just demonstrates the power of Luna Snow and how incredible she can be in the right hands, as well as now they get the stagger as well onto Dongmin. They say, hey, you can be our buddy for a short amount of time. Join us on this journey, and now we rip you out of the game. As, yeah, we lost. Push over the first point and start to march towards victory now. Sen are going to have to hold strong. 2 minutes and 53 on the clock.
Man, time is of the essence here, too. If you're looking at Sentinels right now, Santos is feeling themselves. Wait, damage Luna? Hold up. Has a Snowflake on themselves. Gets a freeze to Kurovo. The shutdown, though, they save him, but it still opens the gates for Mask and Zatex to follow up and get 2 more. But May is the next to fall. No God of Mischief here, and they are just taking free real estate.
Look at the high line there playing as well. Yeah, we lost, and they have ults to work with. Sen are crumbling now. It looks like, yeah, we lost. Should you be able to bully their way through to this point as another falls? It's another KO going in favor of, yeah, we lost. And as easy as that, they cross over the point and they take map number 2 here against Sentinels.
All the time looking for the speed run, no sweat, as yeah, we lost are now at match point, everybody. Our second series, showing a dominating performance from this team on Sentinels map pick. Midtown now in their pockets, and now it makes you wonder, are we gonna get the back-to-back 3-0 Gaskin?
The only person on the talent team who predicted, yeah, we lost winning was Dogman. So we'll have to see how much smirking he's going to be having at the moment. He's going to be very smug, I'm sure, but it's not done just yet. Sentinels can still potentially reverse sweep us. We'll have to find out whether they can do that right after this break.
법인 거야 운명의 소리 들려 여기서 저기서 날 찾으면 달빛이 날 비춰와 시작해야 let's go 아무도 흘러는 우주 따뜻한 눈으로 감싸나 순간 신비롭게 녹아내릴 거야 좀 더 기다려 I'll be there 쓰러지지만 끝까지 일어나야 해 어딜 가든지 극복해 힘은 너에게 있는 걸 소리 높여 노래를 불러 작은 걱정 따윈 던지고 최선을 다해 자충을 쳐봐 어둠이 떠 날 때까지 아름다운 꿈을 밝혀봐 우리에게 달려서 그 세계 운명 어둠이 떠 날 때까지 세계 운명 오랜 시간 간직해온 열망 까만 밤의 빛처럼 빛나 네 눈앞에 바로 왔던 나라 잡을 딱 봐도 superstar 딱 보면 모르나 널 지킬 나란 걸더 지켜볼수록 점점 빠져들어 카리스마 넘쳐 흘러 oh yeah 운명의 소리 들려 여기서 저기서 날 찾으면 달빛이 날 비춰와 시작이야 let's go 어둡고 흘러는 우주 따뜻한 눈으로 감싸나 순간 신비롭게 녹아내릴 거야 좀 더 기다려 I'll be there 쓰러지지만 끝까지 일어나야 해 어딜 가든지 극복해 힘은 너에게 있는 걸 소리 높여 노래를 불러 작은 걱정 따윈 던지고 최선을 다해 자충을 쳐봐 어둠이 떠 날 때까지 아름다운 꿈을 밝혀봐 우리에게 달려서 그 세계 운명 눈이 부신 모든 순간들 지켜내야 해 내게 주어진 운명 꿈꿨던 너와 나 그래들의 승리와 명예 The fate of the both the world is in our hands 작은 걱정 따윈 던지고 최선을 다해 자충을 쳐봐 어둠이 떠 날 때까지 아름다운 꿈을 밝혀봐 우리에게 달려서 그 세계 운명 어둠이 떠 날 때까지 세계 운명
Welcome back, everyone, to Marvel Rivals Ignite. Now, potentially an upset on the cards here. Yeah, we lost 2-0 up against Sentinels. Or is it an upset is going to be the real question here, Vicky. I mean, there are some people that maybe expected this from Yeah, we lost, but this is certainly not a good look for Sen right now. They need to come up with something different.
Is it too late to copy Dogman's homework? Like, you know, I gotta do it. I gotta do it right
something
now.
we
because
didn't.
Yeah, obviously. Like, for how long did he know? Because, like, that's crazy. I mean, if I knew, you know, some of the back-end stuff here, maybe my Preds would also look a little different. Maybe some other people's Preds will look different. But if you take a look at what went down here in our previous map, everybody, it's a best of 5. And yeah, we lost. We're sitting at match point with Zatex taking the MVP. 49-4 with 30k damage to Gaskin.
Cyclops still getting through somehow, some way. And that's what happens when you allow Cyclops to get through. 49 KOs on the board, and of course, plenty of damage to go alongside it as expected. It was looking better, though, I will say. Sen, you know, they did play the likes of Rogue. They were playing the Wolverine. They tried. They tried to play the meta. Sadly, Yeah, we lost still had the answer. Yeah, we lost. We're still doing things a little bit better. and it is going to be increasingly more frustrating for Sentinels the further we get into this series here, Vic.
Yeah, and that's with Jitward having the Black Cat, right? Made the immediate swap, goes over to the Black Cat, finds that success. And, it does also come down to the fact, like, Mask having a good time rolling out on the Thor, always the first to see it here when it comes to Ignite. Luca, you could ban Hulk all you want against Luca. He may not be taking on that same mantle that we've seen from Cart in the past when he was on this team, but it's in a different form with the flexibility onto the Venom. And then you still, as you've already mentioned, talk about Cyclops getting through. Kendrick being able to get so much success on having so many Cias, as well as the BRB bringing a lot of his teammates back.
I think that's what has always impressed me about Yeah We Lost since I first watched them as they were rising through the ranks, right? Was their flexibility, their ability to constantly change their heroes, adapt to whatever the situation is that's put in front of them, whether it's meta, whether it's off meta. They always seem to have something available to make a difference. And yeah, for Sentinels, it seems to be a little bit of the opposite at the moment. They are trying to make it work, but just not quite getting there. I do wonder, though, with it being double elimination, let's say Sentinels fall here, right? If we carry on going along this path, Yeah We Lost 3-0 them. With just a little bit more time going into tomorrow, and perhaps they play against a slightly weaker opponent, maybe they can build on this, build on some chemistry, the fact they are on LAN, perhaps they can have a little chat and work a little bit better and improve on some of these things that they're struggling with.
Whether it be, timing these ultimates or even highlighting the flexibility. I just also have to highlight, like, Xanthos was, like, nearly 60% accuracy, and I know that he was cheesing trying to go for a lot of these flanking positions as DPS Luna, but still having that healing output comes out in clutch and allows the confidence to continue on as we get ready for map number 3 for Yeah We Lost.
And Sentinel's going to take us maybe somewhere a little bit different. Again, perhaps you try and find some weakness on the side of Yeah We Lost. I mean, Convoy was typically Yeah We Lost's worst. Like, maybe that's why they went there before. Like, they are 1-3. They were 1-3 throughout group stages. Their convergence was 2-1, and their dom was 3-2. So when you look at actually game types, that was where Yeah We Lost were the weakest. As for Sen, they were before 4-1 on Convoy, whereas their convergence was 0-2. And we are going to head to Central Park. So Sen, of course, not able to go back to Convoy. They move over to Convergence, and Central Park is going to be the pick.
And something else of highlighting just the flexibility here of the Vanguards that we were seeing from Yeah We Lost, right? You go over to Central Park, the group could come out again from Luca, seeing how much space he was able to control here. And this is the last chance opportunity, possibly, for Sentinels to keep their heads afloat. We've seen teams come back from worse here, Gaskin. It's a lot of pressure when you're already here in the playoffs, but you do not want to deal with the gauntlet run that lower bracket's going to look like here in Americas.
So now as we go into locking bans, do Yeah We Lost allow Penny Parker to get through? Of course, on this map, Penny can be very difficult to deal with, and we've already seen Sen setting up with Penny as well on Dongmin, so maybe that's going to be a target ban for them, but of course then that will open up other things, and their strategy thus far has mostly been trying to remove those strategists from Sentinels, and it has worked. So, I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, as I'll say again. For Sen, though, perhaps their path is going to be changing a little bit. Now they've noticed how Yeah We Lost are playing and the heroes that they're comfortable on as well.
Said don't block, don't fix, and then they came out left field with a thing ban, by the way, just to help enable the gameplay that we keep seeing between Mask, Jitward, Zatex getting away with everything out here, who he's going to be able to hang out in the back, deal the amount of pressure and damage that we saw even in that last map. Like, what? It was like 30k with 17 finals, was insane. So what can Sentinels now do differently here? They did bring out what we were talking about after map number 1 when they didn't feel comfortable flexing over, like Crimzo over to the Rogue, let's say here, even trying to help enable Korova. We saw Rymazing trying to go in together with Flamme being on the Loki, getting the copy onto the Adam Warlock, but we gotta take a look at how this pick and ban phase phases out.
That's the funny thing, right? Sometimes I'm all for playing what's comfortable for you, and I will often scream that from the rooftops. If you're not good at certain heroes, maybe you don't play them. That being said, when you're in a meta where some heroes are just that good, you kind of have to play them, someone should be learning it. And I'm glad that Sentinels at least showed that they have been practicing it. They can resort to those meta heroes if they need to. And maybe going into this third one now, they'll be able to find a little bit more success with even more reps under their belt, especially in tournament play as well. But Yeah We Lost, though, I think they're going to be more than happy with how things have been going so far. In fact, they're probably going to be delighted, but they can't get too ahead of themselves. The job is still not done yet. We have seen teams be able to come back from this point. Although at the moment, it does look like, yeah, we lost it, just slightly outclassing Sentinels.
And while we do wait to get started with the pink and ban phase, getting word here that it's just a little quick remake for the maps to make sure that we are actually loading into the proper map here for Sentinels to see where we're going to be moving on to. Of course, it is going to be Convergence no matter what, Gaskin, since our map number 2 was Convoy, so we do go down that list if we do see one of our series go to distance.
How do you pick the wrong map? You have one job, guys. Delaying everything.
Man.
This is Sentinel's attempt of saying, all right, we just don't want to get 3-0 too quickly, so let's make sure we just pick the wrong map here, try and stall out a little bit, ruin the momentum of, yeah, we lost. I see through your plans, Sentinel. I understand what you're going through here, but Central Park is one of those that it was our first draw we ever saw this season, right? We saw it between, it was one of the Space Station games where both teams were able to hold that initial first point, so curious to see whether we'll see something along those lines here.
See, as we get everybody and we take a nice look at our players who are having a good time here. If you're, yeah, we lost lots of smiles for this team. Very stressful for Sentinels, just making sure that they are locked and ready, making sure we get onto the right map. It is going to be Central Park, by the way, guys. That wasn't wrong. It was just a quick misclick from our players to make sure that we are locked and loaded and ready to go.
Purposeful. That's what I think. I think it's stall tactic and calling them out. Vicky, we've got 2 more matches still after this one as well. I know we're focusing on Sen and yeah, we lost at the moment. Any other teams you're looking forward to seeing today? Because we get to sit back and watch after these.
I cannot wait to see their 3rd series of the day. Everybody, for those of you guys tuning in, like, we got 2 banger series, but specifically, I gotta highlight Stick Drift versus 100 Thieves is definitely gonna be my favorite.
Well, I'm looking forward to that one as well. I think I actually called Stick Drift to win that one, so maybe I can do what Dogman's done with this series and go against the grain. Anyway, we're into lock and bans here. Sentinels go down the traditional route. Mantis gets taken away. Gambit gets locked. And we will see Daredevil being protected on the side of, yeah, we lost, as they also are removing the Rocket Raccoon. Again, it's a strategic target onto the strategists.
Yeah, I'm going to be able to kind of flow through this while still protecting Jetward, and having that Daredevil has just been such a threat. The fact that they also, of course, if you're looking at Sentinels, not having access to that rocket, but a little different pacing here as we're going to see that ban onto the Ultron. After seeing Sentinels commit to protecting this Gambit, but taking it off the table for, yeah, we lost. And they do ban out the Cyclops, which I think is huge to pinpoint after the last 2 matches alone.
Why is it map 3 both times that the teams finally realize Cyclops has to be banned? That's my biggest question. A team goes down 2-0 and they're like, okay, maybe we have to get rid of this Cyclops, who is a problem. That being said, at the moment, yeah, we lost. Not banning the Cyclops. Perhaps they're going to allow Sentinels to have it yet again, but they've won both matches, so perhaps they don't see it as a threat. That being said, a one-sided Cyclops is a very different game, as yeah, we lost are going to get the Protect onto that Lunar Snow, and we saw how good Luna was for yeah, we lost in that previous as well. You mentioned the smirk on the face, being able to flank round into damage mode as Hulk gets banned away from, yeah, we lost.
With the self-buff too, by the way, Xanthos was having too good of a time, and you still will be able to have that on the table. We highlight what this final ban is going to be, but the final Protect, rather, for Sentinels. They're dwelling on it here, and still the prio ban over onto the Hulk could be a little difficult while they get to protect the Cyclops. I like this, trying to proc that already and still trying to maybe work into what Sentinels we're trying to aim for on our previous map, and having that team up together with Wolverine could also proc perhaps a Wolverine ban on the other side, unless they don't feel like it's going to be a problem.
Is there the consideration of a penny? No. Okay, Luna. So, yeah, they say you get the one-sided Cyclops, we'll take the one-sided Lunar Snow, and we'll have to see which one stands out and is more prominent in this one. I do like the one-sided Cyclops. I think that if you have a good Cyclops and the other team doesn't have one available to them, it can certainly snowball out of control. And with Sentinels also having the ability to potentially go for a penny as well, I'm curious on their hold strategy going into Central Park. Now it's 2-0 to, yeah, we lost. Can they make it 3-0, or is it going to be the beginning of a comeback here for Sen?
Let's find out. Everybody give them your energies. The pick and ban phases are now phased out, and we are starting things off on our possible last map. It's going to be Central Park, or can Sentinels take us the distance? So we get to see some changes moving forward. There's that team up that we were expecting, as Sentinels will be rolling out on the attack with, yeah, we lost, holding this defense. And Zatex says, don't worry, you can ban out the Cyclops. We've seen this one before, Gaskin, as Zatex goes over to the Pride and True Elsa that we've seen him play before.
Yeah, a little bit worrying for Sentinels. I think knowing how good the hero pool is for yeah, we lost, they're always going to have that backup, and we know what Zatex can do on Elsa for sure, and if he can get going right? If you can get that Apex Predator online and then just delete them every time they try and push this initial point, maybe you can hold them out for these 4 minutes and deny even 1 point on the board, and especially when Jitwood is going to be able to run rampant on this Daredevil. Look at how aggressive they're already being into spawn, straight onto set.
Look at Xantho taking an off angle as well. Jitwood taking a huge chunk of that damage. Both of the duelists get deleted. Great punish from Kurova to get that charm. And then the isolation, as Crimzo says. All right, good luck with that one here, Xanthos. He's the one isolated. It's just a matter of time as a freeze comes in. Actually managed to get away with it, but the rest of your team are gone.
Instant portal, though. Zatex switches over to that Doctor Strange, so yeah, we lost are going to have an attempt to be able to deny this one. It's also a switch over to Thing on the side of Mask. Can you beat one down and actually get yourself into an advantage in terms of these players is the real question here, but yeah, we lost. They have been able to survive, and now you'll also see on the side of Sen, they've been able to really push in and apply the damage, but Right Mazing gets the opener.
Oh man, even with that portal play to try to hang out by the corridor, guess what? Getting deleted here off to the other side though, as the immediate turnaround. Yeah, we lost between Kendrick and Santos with the immediate turnaround and making these swaps. With the invis now, you're very close to the invisible boundary, and they held the defense, forcing Sentinels back after finding Kurova and Flamme.
Backline diff, baby. Somehow, some way. Yeah, we lost. We'll hold on to that one. They had no right. But Xantho and Kendrick working together and able to deny Sen, but now, off the flip, Sen are able to get a couple in their favor, and they start to push onto this point as well. Yeah, we lost need to stall. They do have invisible boundary available to them.
Wow. Oh, trying to force him back though. You put the invisible boundary very far out, but I really like the swap because it's the counter to Crimzo being on the Angela. You pull them back in, and Xanthos becomes a threat. You drop down here if you're Right Mazing. You got ultimate economy in Sentinel's favor, but look at Zatex. A great stun onto Zatex and Jitward. Another one onto Xantho. That causes him to go down, and that White Fox Kumio Unleash was deleted. Agamotto here goes at least onto 2, but you have no follow potential.
Yeah, Luca will try and stall, but it's not going to be stalling enough. The Sentinels will put the first point on the board in the end. And it was a very aggressive start from Yeah We Lost, wasn't it? And Sentinels seemed like they were prepared, they were ready, and they constantly had Yeah We Lost on the back foot. Yeah We Lost never got the chance to really reset and reassess what they wanted to do. There was kind of switches all over the place as the Strange switch happened as well, so their comp was a little bit off. But now perhaps they'll have the chance to reset properly here and try and hold set.
They do, though. Luca's gonna be able to back away. Great map here for Luca. You're popped up the armor. He's got the Feast of the Abyss for the reset, and Crimzo is looking to prowl about and also get information. But they have the Retribution, but coming in together with a Banhammer and Jitward with letting the Devil out. Dogman pulls everybody together, but just pulling away from Mask, who tries to go down, and Crimzo instead retaliates, brings everybody grouped up, and Jitward still finds that pick and missed the chaos.
Yeah, I think if Jitwood can consistently find the pick onto Right Mazing, then it's going to be a far more comfortable time for them. We saw when Right Mazing was up and was able to get the Ruby online, Sen just applied so much damage to Yeah We Lost as they lose Zatex now, so Sen have the extra player on the map. There is going to be a couple of trades in that feed, though. 2 KOs going either way. Luca also takes down Right Mazing. Yusha falls, and Sen now are going to have to back out of this one because they've lost too many.
You could take the ultimate a little bit ago if you're Dogman with a Heartbreaker, but now when the time calls, Mask had it perfectly executed to follow up together with Luca. You get the shish kebab on the Angela v. Angela battle in disguise as Kendrick now finds Crimzo as a finishing blow.
Mask says, you want to play Angela versus Angela? Bet. We've already seen what he can do on the Angela in the previous games. Just able to skirt around the corner as well and avoid that initial damage as now, Yeah We Lost are going to be able to hold once more on this point. And Sen had to back off initially, but Right Mazing is going to have Ruby Rage once more, so a lot of damage output coming.
Waiting for it too. You're about to have that Rage Royal Flush as you already mentioned here, but look at Santos. Apex Predator out. You have the Rage Royal Flush to try to help them out, and Right Mazing at least still finds Kendrick. Santos with the It's Jeff comes in, but they've lost out on 2 originally, and that was even with the Rage Royal Flush allowing Sentinels to take more of that driver's seat. See, Lucian's trying to find the 2 players here from Yeah We Lost over to the left side, isolating them, but he's going to be able to get healed up with a very split positioning from Yeah We Lost before they finally find Xantho.
It is crazy how much more comfortable Sen look now they have the only Cyclops, by the way. They don't have to deal with the insane amount of AoE damage that comes out from Cyclops when played correctly as well. And Right Mazing also having a far more comfortable time being the solo on the map, as now, Yeah We Lost have lost 2. They're backing off once more, and Sen march towards this second point now. There's going to be one last chance for Yeah We Lost to defend before they have to start to resort to portals.
Well, bringing everybody together is going to be Yusha to find Zatex at the very least. That's going to be another stagger pick as We Lost are going down in numbers. Kind of going hand in hand with what you were saying before. Letting the devil out, but you get Shish Kebab looking like Crimzo is the exorcist himself. And now you have Korova with the Kumio Unleash to bring everybody together after they are up in numbers and want to capitalize.
It is good stalling from We Lost, so it will allow them to at least get that portal down and start to re-engage, not allow Sen to push too far. But now with Mass going down, that is a big delay between players. The portal is going to stop them for now. They're not diving through just yet. They're kind of waiting and stalling, hoping they can get Mass back up, who is going to switch over to Thing for some brawl.
Oh my god, Zeta took so much damage there, but then you have the Piece of the Abyss and lands on the Dogman, but all for nothing, because the rest of Sentinels were able to play around the other side of that portal perfectly fine, and they were just waiting for We Lost to go through the mouth of that portal. Another stall potential here, but it's nothing here. Sentinels are cleaning up We Lost fight after fight.
So the answer was Dongmin on the Rogue. We finally got there for Sen, and they look so much better. I mean, We Lost had allowed Rogue to get through, allowed Cyclops to get through, allowed like some of the biggest heroes that you can possibly play to get through in the previous two, but now Sen finally putting those pieces together, you see why those bans can be very important, and if Sen are able to go on and win this one, I wonder whether strategy will change in the ban phase for We Lost.
This is huge here. Remember we were talking about before, Gaskin, it's how long it takes before you get that ban onto the Cyclops, especially on a map like this. Sentinels having these 3 ultimates. Rage Road Flush is going to start, but it's a little too late to save Right Mazing, who goes down at the hands of Zatex. Now the Elsa is the next one to go. Kendrick comes in too up the strap roll, but the dive down now from Yusher, trying to ice him, and Lucas just trying to force their way as a bouncer to harass this backline. The teleport does come out from the White Fox here, but it's the way that We Lost are holding this defensive position inside the side room.
Well, We Lost did so well. Sorry, Sen did so well to deny We Lost there. Jitwood wasn't able to really convert after they got that opening pick. Now with Kendrick going down as well, Sentinels can start marching towards these stairs. And sometimes this choke can be quite difficult to break through, but Sen have made it look somewhat comfortable, and they've still got 1 minute 12 on the clock to try and push this all the way.
Good enough time here, but at least trying to clear up this space so that way you're not caught up that low ground here. The Hard Talks now coming in together. We only shoot a matchup with Korova, but it gets deleted. The It's Jeff does find 2 in the process, though. Santos is trying to get away. Ruby Rush now coming afterwards, and it's Hasta La Vista as Santos does manage to get them off the map.
I mean, that's your main aim. Just try and get away, survive, and hope you get a little bit of healing from your strategist as well. And it will win the fight for We Lost. And it will eat away at that time for Sen as we get a pause between these two teams. As We Lost, they were able to win that engagement, but Sen are close to this final point. Maybe one last push, potentially 2, with a portal here, Vic.
And it's like less than a minute, I believe, here too. So just trying to take a pause, maybe a little tactical pause here, but it's a lot of momentum that Sentinels are rolling with. The highlight to this, though, Gaskin, is the changeup in the pick and ban phase. Also feel like We Lost just had taken so much time to finally regroup together. They were getting isolated, though, and one by one, as they were trying to engage, they were still down like 1 to 2 members in a lot of those fights.
They were. They just have the better composition now. Like, without a shadow of a doubt, they have the better lock and ban phase. They have the heroes that they need. And the switches they've made of who's playing those heroes has also been the main factor here for Sentinels. And it's a breath of fresh air because it was looking pretty dismal after the first 2. It was looking very worrying if you're a Sentinels fan. But even if they lose this game, right? Even if they go on to lose this game, I still think what we've seen just in this game alone and the fact they've been able to adapt to the lock and ban phase, it shows that they still have a good chance going through these playoffs in general.
I agree, right? It's literally the adaptation that we're seeing Sentinels play out here to see what's going to happen on the other side of this pause as well, because the way that they've been playing right now, even making those adjustments, aside from the pick and ban phase, the way that they're playing, the isolation that we're seeing with the Angela too to contest to the skies, in a map like this, Gaskin, when you have that vertical advantage here, you get to not only find this displacement, but then you get to harass those individual players over onto the backline before resetting.
So a player disconnect, I believe, just means we can have a temporary pause. Always thankful for any pause mechanic in any esport, by the way, as once upon a time when I used to play and compete, we didn't have such things. Instead, you would have to get a full reset every single time. But the pause happens, the players are going to be reconnecting, and we'll get right back into this one. I will say, though, it is going to be, of course, a momentum shifter. There is a good chance to discuss as well for a lot of these players of how they want to approach the rest of this game here, Vicky. And even though it's been a good push so far for Sentinels, it could come down to speed here, right? If they can get all the way to the third, can Yeah We Lost do it faster, give themselves an advantage going into overtime? It would be nice to get an overtime, I think, today, because we haven't had one yet.
That is very true, right? And even going the distance beyond like a game number 3 would be nice here. Just making sure that Plame is also loaded back in with the rest of Sentinels. And I mean, with the way that they've been playing, all the pieces here are needed with these adjustments that we're already seeing from them. Just making sure that everybody is ready to go here before we unpause. But again, also highlighting what's going to be on the other side of that will be less than a minute on the clock for Sentinels to get to the third checkpoint.
Yeah, one last push and a portal play, so probably 2 here. But again, Yeah We Lost have had the time to discuss, but so have Sentinels, to say, how do we break this one? How do we actually make sure we push this one the full way? As we are back underway, Flame's off the map, sadly. I remember there's probably a disconnect, so that's probably what happened. So Sen are now going to be able to just rebuild here. It's 25 seconds, Vicky, actually. It's a little bit less time than that is ideal, but it is enough to have one walk up before you portal.
If it's needed here, have a distribution though from Crimzo, just going to be able to group everybody together before trying to recontest here on the point. A nice little back cap, by the way, keep your eyes on him because the rest of Yeah We Lost now had to deviate their attention onto Crimzo, who goes right back to the rest of his team and right basing and having the lead in finding Mask.
Mask going down, but we'll be straight back up shortly as the rest of Sen are just backing off a little bit at the moment because they are worried about the dive that's happening from Jitwood as he lets the devil out. But can you convert any of these KOs and give your team a chance? Also, the Galatrox came out at the same time, but Crimzo and Karova, they work together to take down Zatex and Luca. Jitwood does finally get one, but all the meanwhile, he's losing some, and we're seeing a 3v3 making it 2 versus 1. Somehow, Yeah We Lost have come out on top here as overtime ticks away, and Yeah We Lost will deny Sen. I don't know how they pulled that off. Sen got the openers, but Yeah We Lost held strong.
And then Xantho just doing his best Payload Princess impression, just waiting out, making sure nobody comes in from any cheeky shenanigans from Sentinels. But even crazier to highlight is the way that Jitward continues on this domination. But the biggest pick there was the isolation onto Flame, who got the Rager Royal Flush at the very end when he was already low. Even with Yeah We Lost those 2 members who were also incredibly low on that push, they came to back up Jitward, and it stopped any sort of contention from Sentinels.
It's penny time, baby. I thought maybe Yeah We Lost would have tried it themselves, but you've got to look at the stuff. Was the big one for me. Yeah We Lost, they tried to be very aggressive onto the point defensively, and it didn't pay off, and then they were at 6s and 7s after that, right? And oh god, I've said it, all the Zoomers are going to be happy, but
oh no,
you are going to see now a very different strategy employed here by Sen, who are going to go slightly more defensive, utilize that spider nest on the Penny as well to make sure that this is just going to be like an impenetrable force, and not allowing anyone to get through that initial point thanks to the mines that are on board.
It's always nice to see here, too, with the way that Dogman plays around the Penny. Right, amazing, by the way. MVP after that push. Doing fantastic thus far in capitalizing off the Cyclops and Wolverine team-up. Now, flipping the script is going to be, Yeah We Lost, to see how they're going to be able to roll out here on the attack this time around.
And as expected, it's a sitting back on the choke for Sentinels. And not only do they have the Penny Parker, you've also got Yusha onto that Wolverine. So you have the Wolverine Cyclops combo here, which could be very detrimental for Yeah We Lost, and they may regret the bans that they went for in the end. But if they can just get that opening pick here, and also if they can take down that spider nest, they will have a chance to try and break through.
Be a lot easier for them. Xantho taking a huge chunk of that damage here as Atex now takes over to the skies, calls out on the Wolverine, that is Yusha Flame. He'll be able to back away though, heal himself back up, and as Dogman does get frozen, Flame is able to find Jitward. Great way on stopping the dive oppression, as Luca wanted to go in for a follow-up immediately afterwards, but they're down in numbers, and they're taking a huge chunk of that damage.
Crazy thing is about the spider nest, it becomes a 7th player almost. You have to take it down. It has to be a focus, and with your focus elsewhere, it allows the rest of the team, right, to focus on something else and potentially delete you. So, Yeah We Lost, sure, yeah, they got rid of the spider nest, but they lost players along the way, and now as they re-engage, another nest is up for Sen to be able to work with here. And this is where the struggle can sometimes happen on Central Park. It's so difficult against a Penny, so we need to see a bigger and better game plan from Yeah We Lost.
Feels so good too when you get that speed boost, the extra healing as well when you get us up to 300, that's 275, and then you have the Ruby Rage coming in, and the dance up from Xanthos. Gonna be able to keep everybody alive from Yeah We Lost, but they lose out on Kendrick. Big pickoff from Crimson to bring him back together into his line of sight. Kurova now activates a Kumio Unleash, and they do lose out on Flamme, so no Rage and Royal Flush to boost that up, but it's fine now as Yeah We Lost are able to actually control more of that numbers before Crimson and Raimazing were able to find the two following up after that, so Yeah We Lost is back to the drawing board.
Yeah, we lost. We were able to get some picks, but just not quite enough. And again, that Spider Nest is going to be focused. It does lose all its health. So now off the spawn, Yeah We Lost are going to get there a little bit faster. Glartrox comes out as well, the Apex Predator. Did you connect with anything is going to be the real question. Dongmin is going to have ult available, though, so that's going to be a very important factor here. The Spider Sweeper could be a big difference maker as they try and enter.
They're going to be able to play into this because they do commit to the Rage and Royal Flush. They're holding on to these ultimates because Crimzo, no need here when you got that team up between Rogue and Gambit. You let the devil out now if you're Jitward, but you lost out on the wipeouts earlier. Oh my! The way that Yusher just took on that last stand, slammed down and dunked next onto Luca. One by one, Sentinels are back on this defensive driver's seat.
Frustrating for Yeah We Lost. They got so close. They almost tasted the first point, but sadly, they have to go back to the drawing board once more. Spider Nest back up, and Dongmin still has Spider Sweeper available, by the way. So even if that Nest goes down, you have the backup of the ultimate to just reapply the pressure of those mines on the floor. As Crimzo now also utilizing ult to get aggressive and in the face of Yeah We Lost as Raimazing follows up. And even though the invisible boundary has gone down, Yeah We Lost have lost two. This is going to be very difficult.
So was it Kendrick and Zatex too, unfortunately, right? So now, I mean, Luca at least capitalized off of Raimazing's over-aggressive positioning, but he has that Ruby Rage at the same time. Jitward now trying something different, though. If he keeps getting shut down by the anti-dive, now Dogman comes in, sees the push. It's going to be about how that sweeper now activated, and the portal play is going to come in this time at the hands of Crimson after he went down early on the road.
You get a mine, you get a mine, you get a mine. Raimazing now says you get a beam to the face, says Yusha and Raimazing team up to be able to delete the rest of Yeah We Lost, and sadly they are dropping. Even though Fate of Both Worlds has come out here, I think it might be a little bit too late. 20 seconds left on the board. I think they already may have used a portal as well, so Yeah We Lost is going to have to try and push this one naturally in the neutral, and sadly for them, I don't think it's going to go too well.
I mean, Raimazing, you're looking behind them, right? You got less than 10 seconds how you contest here on the point. Match goes all the way up. Oh, God of Thunder coming crashing down on nobody's head, but Kurova does get frozen. Has a Kumio Unleash. Isolates Raimazing here, who's been the threat from Sentinels, and with overtime now activated, taking down Yeah We Lost. Need to hold on. Zatex, the only one on the point, and is forced to stare down at the rest of Sentinels, and Yusher on the other end of a last stand. Sentinels said, no 3-0 here. Sentinels with a desperate type on the portal play, and Crimson was ready on the counter portal as Sentinels, they hold their defense, and we are going the distance, Gaskin.
A far better performance from Sentinels. It was a better lock-in ban phase, it was a better strategy, and they looked more comfortable on some of these more meta heroes as well. They just had the better heroes available to them, completely won in the lock-in ban phase. And Yeah We Lost now need to take a look at what they are letting through, because it is not going to work out every single time. That being said, Yeah We Lost will get map pick now. So that technically does give them the advantage. They can go for something that really works with their playstyle. But it means we don't get a 3-0. We are going to map number 4 here between these two teams. We'll have to see how that one plays out after this break.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. 필요할 때 내가 널 지켜줄게. 간절히 바라면 이루어지는 마법인 거야. 운명의 소리 들려. 여기서 저기서 날 찾으면 달빛이 날 비춰와. 시작해야 let's go. 어둡고 흘러는 우주 따뜻한 눈으로 감싸는 순간 신비롭게 녹아내릴 거야. 좀 더 기다려. I'll be there. 쓰러지지 마. 끝까지 일어나야 해. 어딜 가든지 극복해. 힘은 너에게 있는 걸. 소리 높여 노래를 불러. 작은 걱정 따윈 던지고 최선을 다해. 춤을 춰봐. 어둠이 떠 날 때까지 아름다운 꿈을 밝혀봐. 우리에게 달려서 그 세계 운명. 어둠이 떠 날 때까지. 세계 운명. 오랜 시간 간직해온 열망. 까만 밤의 빛처럼 빛나. 네 눈앞에 바로 왔던 나라. 탑을 딱 봐도 superstar. 딱 보면 모두 널 지킬 나란 걸 더 지켜볼수록 점점 빠져들어 카리스마 넘쳐 흘러. Oh yeah. 운명의 소리 들려. 여기서 저기서 날 찾으면 달빛이 날 비춰와. 시작이야 let's go. 어둡고 흘러는 우주 따뜻한 눈으로 감싸는 순간 신비롭게 녹아내릴 거야. 좀 더 기다려. I'll be there. 쓰러지지 마. 끝까지 일어나야 해. 어딜 가든지 극복해. 힘은 너에게 있는 걸. 소리 높여 노래를 불러. 작은 걱정 따윈 던지고 최선을 다해. 춤을 춰봐. 어둠이 떠 날 때까지 아름다운 꿈을 밝혀봐. 우리에게 달려서 그 세계 운명. 눈이 부신 모든 순간들 지켜내야 해. 내가 좋아지는 면 꿈꿨던 너와 나 그래들의 승리 운명에 The fate of both the worlds is in our hands. 작은 걱정 따윈 던지고 최선을 다해. 춤을 춰봐. 어둠이 떠.
Welcome back, everyone, to Marvel Rivals Ignite, and we do have a series on our hands. Sentinels bite back here to make it 2-1. They dominated Central Park. Yeah, we lost, couldn't even break the first point in the end, so the strategy was employed perfectly here, Vicky. But it does raise eyebrows a little bit now going into this next lock and ban phase, because it's been a little bit of a back and forth between these teams. Yeah, we lost, we're kind of letting certain heroes go through. Sen didn't really capitalize on that to begin with, but now they have found a way to make it work. Perhaps it changes things up, but yeah, we lost.
Man, Dogman Penny is just something else when nobody is taking care of his nest, right? And it goes hand in hand with the fact that Cyclops was banned for Yeah We Lost. Sure, we did see Zatex roll out there on the Elsa, but it's so difficult when the rest of your team is forced to play very split up here. But it's great news for Sentinels, the Sen City believers, giving them their energy to see how we can progress through that pick and ban phase to work out for Sentinels' favor as Rymazing. Look at that face, man. Rymazing taking the MVP 50-6. Wow.
Yeah, you see what happens when you get to play Cyclops against no one else, right? You don't have to play another Cyclops. Instead, you're going up against an Elsa. Very different matter. Even though there were a couple of times Rymazing did get picked off by the Daredevil from Jitwood, for example, it's just such an oppressive hero to go up against. The amount of damage with the AoE from the laser beam, insane to go and try and compete with. And you can just really see how it helps Sentinels cross the finish line initially. But everyone playing their part, as you mentioned, Dongmin initially on that Penny being able to do so much work as well. Yusha actually on the Wolverine was such an integral part to their victory as well with some of the picks that he was able to find.
Yeah, that last stand too, and the isolation that we saw from Yushir was chef's kiss, and then you combine that together with the team up was really nice. Korova too, by the way, putting down not only the healing but the damage output when he gets to teleport and get a lot of these follow-ups too. You take away that big tool that Zatex was really leaning onto for our last previous 2 maps. The Vanguards can only do so much, right? When you need some help in trying to go in for these diving compositions, but even Jitward was forced to swap off the Daredevil when they couldn't break through the Sentinels defense.
Could not break through in the end, and a little bit frustrating, I'm sure, but they have the cushion. They were able to go 2-0 up, and they were able to have one of these matches, right? They're probably saying, oh, let's keep going with the same strategy in the lock and bans. It was Sen's pick on the map as well. We know what they're going to try and do defensively. They didn't opt to go for the penny ban, which did surprise me a little bit. But now, yeah, we lost, get the choice of map here. So they're going to be switching up to something a little bit more comfortable for them, and something that really capitalizes on their playstyle instead, and perhaps could be a detriment to the way that Sentinels are trying to play here, Vic.
Yeah, definitely seeing how that's going to also go into that map 4, right? Because we've already gone through, obviously, starting off on Dom, Convoy, and Convergence, now moving over to something different here. On to perhaps Dom is what I was expecting here as we wrap back around, but with a different mindset if you are Sentinels after looking how that pick and ban phase had went.
Yeah, Sentinels are going to be feeling a lot more comfortable, I would imagine. They're going to be saying, all right, things are working. We know who's going to play certain heroes now. If they allow Rogue to get through again, we know that Dongman can be incredible on it as well. Was just absolutely tearing through. Yeah, we lost when he saw him on Rogue initially, and then having that confidence to be able to switch over to Penny as well. Now, where will we be going? Oh, okay, this is somewhat familiar. And I guess, yeah, if you were going to go anywhere for Yeah, We Lost, Museum of Contemplation does seem like the perfect fit for how they like to play.
Yeah, my brain going over to the MRC rule set here. Going over onto Convoy once again, so not doing that snake draft here when it comes to going through these maps. Museum of Contemplation. Surprise, surprise, Gaskin. We haven't seen this one before. One of our America's favorite maps to go in for a counter pick.
Counter pick is there, just taking a look at how all teams have been performing. I mean, actually, Sentinels are 4-1 on Museum of Contemplation throughout the group stages, so I think they'll be pretty happy with this one. Slightly surprised on this pick, because actually, yeah, we lost a 0-3. Okay, well, this is intriguing, Vicky. This is certainly not something that statistically makes sense, but we'll have to see how it goes.
Surprise, surprise. All right, that's quite interesting. Maybe they've been practicing, like, when they've had that slight break and trying to get a lot better here on Museum of Contemplation. But one, again, of our region's favorite maps for those of you guys not surprised here. Before diving into the action, though, and seeing what Yeah, We Lost can now do differently after going in for very similar pick and bans that was working for them in the first 2 maps, after Sentinels were able to make the adaptation that they needed, even if that second map didn't go their way.
I guess one way to look at it is because we've seen so much of Sentinels on Museum of Contemplation, there's a lot of VOD to study, and even with us changing metas now going into 8.5, it's a different game, there are different heroes that are going to be part of it, of course Cyclops now in the fray. That being said, game plans and strategies can sometimes still show the same kind of patterns, and maybe Yeah, We Lost have got a read on Sentinels of how they're going to go into this one. And I'm also very curious about this lock and ban phase. As we are now into it, it's going to be the same for Sen. It's going to be Mantis and Rogue that are banned away. Yeah, We Lost are going to opt to keep the Gambit. Now, this is where it gets interesting, though, for Yeah, We Lost. How do they change up? Do they switch up to the more meta decisions here and take away the Rogue now that they've just seen Sentinels are looking a little bit more comfortable on it?
Especially Crimson, right? Like, if they know and expect Sentinels, yep, that was perfect call-out, Gaskin. Because especially if they know that Sentinels will probably lean into getting the ban onto the Cyclops, that's important because Cyclops just beams Rogue right in her face, even when she's trying to put out her shield to protect herself. As Rocket is the next ban, I do really like this, especially seeing that Sentinels are going to be rolling out on the defensive side of things. That BRB just coming out in clutch as they get the protection on the Cyclops while banning it out against Yeah, We Lost.
Yeah, I mean, banning the Rocket does give up Cyclops. I don't know how much I love it. I think I probably, after what I just saw, I would have preferred the Cyclops ban. That being said, maybe just removing Rogue is enough and will just interfere with Sentinel's game plan. Or perhaps this was the decision, right? If they do take Cyclops, we get rid of Wolverine and vice versa. At least they get rid of that team-up possibility now, and Cyclops and Wolverine won't be able to work in tandem and be that much of a difficulty to deal with.
So it makes you wonder here too, like the Penny being a threat, right? But they're gonna opt to go for the defensive side and protect the Daredevil while banning out the Wolverine, taking away that team up after already seeing that they wanted to protect the Cyclops. They're gonna be able to ban out the Hulk, and that's still kind of the common factor here when we've seen the different looks of the pick and ban phase for both these teams.
Didn't know if we lost, we're going to pull out a thing ban or something just to throw us off. But
Yeah.
no, it's that is a little bit more what we expected coming into this one. That is what Emio was kind of looking at. Sure, there's a few different target bans that are coming in here or there, but ultimately we're getting the more similar things of taking away some of the more oppressive heroes like Mantis, Rogue, Wolverine going in there because of the Cyclops Protect as well. But can Sentinels get back into this 5th map here, or will they fall and it be a 3-1 in favor of we lost as they progress in the upper bracket? Remember, there is still the lower bracket. Whoever loses this one, Museum of Contemplation has not been kind to we lost, but they have picked it here, and perhaps they have a game plan.
While Sentinels just have thrived here too, right? And that was with Dogman. I believe it was like back when they had fought against 100 Thieves on Museum of Contemplation when they were rocking out with the Penny. So looking back at that page just a few weeks ago, here comes Sentinels now feeling pretty cozy. And Amazing is going to be on that Adam Warlock, while Korova has been putting on a great display with the White Fox, while you already see Dogman getting set up.
4, 3, 2, 1.
This is going to tell us a lot. Just this first initial skirmish that's going to happen as well, with Sen going with the familiar 3-3 setup that we saw previously when they try and defend at initial points. We lost. Can they break through? 3 Vanguards and 3 Strategists. You don't have to worry about any Duelists, but of course it means there's a lot of health, a lot of healing. So you really are looking at your Duelist to be able to get behind enemy lines and just try and pick something off on that Strategist side.
Mask has had enough. He took care of the Penny Nest, at least originally, and they completely collapse as they sandwich Sentinels and start off strong. They cleared up the point, no stalling here, and Amazing is probably going to even cancel that battle. Just regroup with the rest of your team. Yeah, there you go at that point. While we lost, get extra space.
Lincoln, you would have missed it. That's incredible from we lost. That's what we would expect more so of. And there will be that strange portal on the other side as Sen are going to look to re-engage right away here, deny and stop that car from moving, or the bus at this point, as Dongmin gets trying to position once more. Can he get a Spider Nest down is going to be the real question, or is he going to be focused hard yet again as Mask continues to be a nuisance and bully the rest of the squad?
Oh man, they swapped sides, by the way, and Rova, who is on the Adam Warlock himself, was the first to get taken out, and Amazing gets off the White Fox and goes over to the Cyclops. You gotta work onto what was allowing Sentinels to take control over that previous map fights, and now we lost the back-to-back now, Gaskin. They're already nearing that first checkpoint, and there is no portal play after Sentinels already used it.
No portal play, and definitely no one even quick enough to get there as Jitwood now quite literally behind enemy lines, waiting to see if he can jump on anyone and make matters even worse here for Sen, as they've not really had a chance to breathe with the speed of which we lost have been playing so far, and it does not slow down. Amazing gets deleted off the map, and now they can have the extra player and they continue to jump. This is we lost at their very core, diving onto opposition teams, making them uncomfortable, not giving them a chance to even play the game here.
Oh my goodness, they literally are just dominating in the faces of Sentinels. They're one by one, isolating and splitting them apart, where Flamé is getting focused here by Luca. Now look at this ult economy. All the ults online here for we lost. And now the Glartrox, just to be a thorn on the side and delay more time, just backing away, gets the double mark here too, onto the back end. But take a look at the cart. They know the stall is coming here right afterwards, because Crimzo rolls out on the Venom, and Zaytek splits his attention immediately afterwards as they let the devil out.
Mask again, though, does take down Amazing, but there is going to be trades on the other side, as finally it looks like the push has been stemmed here. We lost, lose enough to make them back off. Sen have been able to stabilize, and finally they can take that deep breath that they have not been able to do so far. Mask does get shut down in the end, but that was one heck of a run for him to be able to dominate and bully his way through. And on the respawn here, we lost have got plenty to work with in terms of ult economy, whether it be defensively or offensively here. This is going to be a difficult one to hold for Sen, but they also have stuff to work with as well. Ruby Rage is going to be there for Amazing to output some damage. Freedom Charge there for Dongmin, essentially as a strat ult as well.
The handshake from between both Venoms going exactly to what they both wanted to do, and now following with the piece of the Abyss Jit, where it's going to be able to find Amazing, assembling the troops is going to be Dogman, though, as Sentinels try to reset on this offensive side. So you won't have the Ruby Rage, but good timing on the reset from Korova. You have the Kumio Unleash and a huge ante onto Mask and Kendrick. The follow-up, though, it needs to go through as Jitward is able to find Yusher. Going all the way up and slamming down. The God of Thunder comes in from Mask as he finds Korova next. And Jitward, they keep up this momentum, and they've now called out Right Mazing, who's trying to back away.
Doesn't get away with it, though. But the car is still moving. The bus has not been stopped just yet. And Sentinels, they're holding strong. Jitwood is about to come off spawn, though, so you can see, yeah, we lost. They're trying to hesitate a little bit, seeing if they keep everyone up, which they're doing very well at, may I add. Great work from the strategist right now to keep everyone alive. And now you are going to see Jitwood being able to re-engage alongside Zatex.
These stalls have been insane. Ruby Rage now coming in just to clear out that side room now. And with the Rage and Royal Flush, could have come in clutch and doing a lot more of that extra damage. And now you have the 3-2-1 on the bread and butter of the Rage and Royal Flush and the Galactic Legend to clear out the rest of Yeah, We Lost. The stall potential has been amazing in allowing Sentinels to regroup together and clear out that point next.
Yeah, that was great ult usage from Sentinels there. Yeah, we lost. Looked like they had the advantage in the fight, but it was timed perfectly. Wait for them to feel like they're comfortable, they overextend, and then you drop the Rage and Royal Flush into the Galactic Legend, which is just such a difficult combo to try and deal with, alongside the damage that's being output here by Right Mazing on Cyclops. So at least Sentinels are able to stall a little bit, but now, yeah, we lost back on the point, and Sen need to contest this one, but they have been able to at least get a couple of KOs their way.
They're just looking at the Glotcher slowly before reclaiming the defensive side of this point. I mean, Mask is side questing and trying to harass Flamay, but the PO's been amazing because then you have to look behind them because Crimso's basically doing the same thing that we've been seeing between Mask and Luca, although the old Kami is still favoring Yeah, We Lost here.
Yeah, they've got everything now, right? There's nothing on the side of Sen. If they've been tracking those ults successfully, which you'd imagine someone will have that job, they'll know they have the advantage. Let the devil out comes through, and Right Mazing going down first is perfect for them. Yusha does respond with one, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough to stop this.
Yusha really stepping up here too, but now you've lost out on two. You have the Kumio Unleashed that is activated now as Kendrick keeps everybody in this fight for Yeah, We Lost. Zatex trying to call out the Venom, who's trying to stall too, and you're down to less than a minute as they clear up this point, and they push. Unfortunate for Korova away as he cannot keep that stall.
Yeah, Korova will probably be a little bit frustrated that you've popped that one as well, because you would have liked to have saved it for the next if you had known that you weren't going to quite be there on time, but just kind of forced off of point there. The bullying again from Mask on the Thor, who's just demonstrating still how powerful Thor can be, even if not necessarily a meta hero at the moment, or certainly not deemed one. Maybe Mask can just dominate the meta himself.
I'm just laughing because I love hearing like the ribbit hits here too. One of my favorite skins for Thor and Mask. So just getting the communication done. Does have the reset of the God of Thunder while Luca's looking to dive, trying to isolate Yusha, who's also been a problem. But the freedom charge from the rest of Sentinels keep them in this fight while Yusha's just waiting for Flamay to get that Rage and Royal Flush. Santos uses out the Fatal Worlds just so that way they can try to push up onto this. But now they don't have a defensive option once that Rage and Royal Flush comes in.
There's going to be trades in the KO feed as well. Jitwood going down, but Luca also finding one. You will see the BRB being used, though, so that just gets Jitwood right back into this fight. But Right Mazing starting to apply the pressure as Mask is just going toe-to-toe at the moment with Crimzo. It's Venom versus Thor. I'm sure that's been a comic book at some point, but Sen are still backing off. Yeah, we lost, still pushing right now.
And that's the Thor go actually here. And there you go, Rage and Royal Flush, the bread and butter of the win tree when it comes to having your Galactic Legend. And they called it perfectly because they utilized that Fate of Both Worlds very early to prevent them from really restabilizing through that.
Often this third point can be the hardest one to push through as well. It's just a very long choke, a lot of angles that you can kind of dance behind and also get behind the enemy at the same time. As Zatex will pop Galactic Legend as well for Yeah, We Lost alongside the Seer. It's just going to apply a lot of damage, but it's about actually finding these players. They've done very well to get behind those walls and use the objectives they can to survive and get away from the damage.
The Sia could do just a fraction of what this Rage and Royal Flush could do if you get out of that line of sight, and Sentinels, they restabilize. They are locked and ready to go as they're looking at Yeah, We Lost. Less than 17 seconds on the point here for them to take it home.
Yeah, one last push here for Yeah, We Lost before they have to start to worry about a portal, but Sen, they don't have any ults right now, so Yeah, We Lost definitely have the advantage.
Letting the devil out though here as Amazing is literally one shot, trying to back away, trying to get to the health pack. Now Jitward tries to focus down here on Flamay, who's just trying to get away. That's 3 off the table as Yeah, We Lost have the number advantage and still holding on to Mask, having that God of Thunder and now finding Dogman next.
All right, so Yeah, We Lost. They get job one done. They've got the point. They start to push. Sen don't need to portal just yet either. They've got one natural walk-up they can work with. Yeah, we lost the first player to go down. Is probably going to switch over to Strange and get the portal to go back in. Although remember, they do have BRB available for Kendrick, and they also have both Vanguards with ult right now.
And now having that piece of events with the follow-up would be insane, together with Mass moving up as well. You get the Beyblade, let it spin here as Atex should try to follow up, but Dogman is still able to find Jitward. The threat off the table for now with overtime taken away. They're still trying to stall, but the push is still coming out from Yeah, we lost. Victory in sight as Dogman now comes in, and Raging Royal Flush from Flamme allows Yusher to let it sing. Galactic Legend, you see Mass splitting his attention right on top of him, but he isn't being focused here. This allows Dogman to thrive. You see the gambit from the other side here, and now you see Kendrick calling in at least the CEO to follow up.
Datex is going to switch over to Strange. The portal is going to be there, and the push is still happening at the moment. Yeah, we're going to be able to re-engage, but Sen are winning this engagement right now. Mass does have ult available, though. But now with the portal coming through, you'd imagine any point, but they don't quite get there in the end. It is a long distance to try and send that portal here, Vicky, but yeah, we lost within touching distance of 3. Still a valiant effort, and it is going to be a difficult one to try and match here for Sen.
It's so tricky when you take a look at the rubber duck and like how close you have to be to that payload just to keep overtime taken away. And Luca was right there, not necessarily right on top of the rubber duck. Even looking at a stat board across the table though, with Yaoi lost winning how many fights? Like 3-4 different fights back to back. The way that Sentinels was able to stall that cart before it went uphill, before that second checkpoint, was chef's kiss. And I'm even hearing thunder blaring right outside my window, almost looking at Mask real quick, who has been putting on a performance with the Thor really able to follow up together with Luke and Jitward at the end.
The God of Thunder is very upset indeed. So if Vicky disappears, you know why. There's a storm brewing over on the East Coast. There's also a storm brewing in this game. Yeah, we lost look far more comfortable here on Museum of Contemplation. Hard to believe in the group stages they have not won this map. You think back to when they played against TSM and they lost out to TSM on this one, giving TSM the path to qualifying for playoffs, by the way. Had they lost that game, they would probably not have made it. So yeah, we lost. Have definitely bounced back. I will say, they had the opportunity. Jitwood could have switched over to Strange when he died, but he thought he had enough time to get back, which in theory he did, but it meant there wasn't enough time for Zatex after death to actually get back onto that Strange in time. Had Jitwood switched to Doctor Strange instead, perhaps they would have had one last chance of a touch. Anyway, they were able to get all the way to that third point, but just not quite convert it. Can we see Sen match up?
I mean, this is very winnable here for Sentinels. It's going to be tricky here, the way that Mask is now rolling out on the cap. Zatex to match this of the Raging Royal Flush and the Galactic Legend that has allowed Yusher to pop up earlier. What was it, 14 finals that we saw originally, 24-5, and now Zatex kind of playing up the back end, but Crimso's still able to find Kendrick, and that's going to be huge because you won't have the BRB for this next upcoming fight. Big first pick off here. He's going to be forced to now do the walk of shame, and the rest of Yaoi lost are dropping like dominoes.
Sen have woken up. Where was this Sen during maps 1 and 2 earlier today? It's like they were just barely waking up. They were maybe just being a little bit tired, a little bit lethargic, but now suddenly they are back in form. And that is a fantastic first push for them. As yeah, we lost off spawn now. Gonna try and re-engage, but there's a lot of pressure being applied here by Sen. A very high line they're holding.
Knocking down on Ryan Mazing's case, but he already used a left shift before backing away and does not use the beam upward to get out of the line of sight of the Venom. Dogman taking a huge chunk of that damage too, and it says a reset on the contest as Yaoi Lost are now up in numbers, just trying to enable them, and Crimso's looking for the reset himself, which is why he went off the map.
Yeah, Crimson just trying to regroup with the rest of the team, saying there's no point wasting time here, because time is of the essence, of course. It is about just trying to get to this first point as quick as possible. Give yourself as much time as you can in that final point if you can get there, because it is definitely one of the most difficult. But we will see. The Raging Ruby is just going to come through. The Raging Royal Flush does combine well with it. And Ryan Mazing holds on, says, I don't need to use the Ruby just yet. Instead, you get the Seer that's going to be on the side of Kendrick. That's really helped. Yeah, we lost him.
That was so unfortunate. Honestly, Ryan Mazing just wanted to be in that fight so that way he could get the combination of the Raging Royal Flush, but it was shut down when Kendrick uses a different iteration with the Sia onto the Galactic Legend to bring Zatex back up. And now Kurova was forced to use that Kumio Unleashed. Does get a pick while he was at it, so they are up in numbers, and it means finding Santos means that they would not have the Raging Royal Flush until they re-engage.
I am trademarking Raging Ruby, by the way, when we do get the combo. It was so close, I thought it was going to happen, but with Ryan Mazing going down, but now he does get to use Ruby instead. And we will see Freedom Charge comes out as well on the side of Crimzo just to keep some stabilization for Sen. But yeah, we lost still finding KOs as Jitwood is still being a thorn in the side at the moment on this Daredevil.
Decent too in terms of ult economy because now Yusher does have the Galactic Legend, but without the Rager Royal Flush in their hands here, and Jitward can easily let the Devil out, where Amazing doesn't go down without a fight and still finds Santo though. And Yaoi Lost are holding on to this defense before the dive in. Now comes in from Luca. You let the Devil out. You see the Galactic Legend. You get the deflect. You're trying to stop him. Somebody look at him, and it's fine. He gets it versus Yusher in the 1v1, and he is bouncing on their heads like a Mario character before getting revived here onto the BRB.
Yeah, BRB is going to help them a lot. They needed it because 2 have just fallen. Mask goes down as well. Mask not going to have that BRB instead as Sia comes out alongside the Galactic Legend. And we will see it used ineffective as Atex to take 1 down. It could be a further as Crimzo tries to escape and maybe just gets around the corner. No, denied as they will be able to shut him down, and this will eat away at more time. Can Sen even get this first point here? Yeah, we lost taking control of this choke.
This is such a hard stuck in terms of the choke and the way that the Yaoi Lost have just been able to flip the script, the way that they've been able to combo the Sia with Zatex and the Galactic Legend. It's been a thorn to their side. The Shishkova able to find the isolation onto Luca as he can't get away. But they do lose out on Dogman. So May was able to get that pick off of Luca originally, and now Korova fighting for their life, but has the rest of Sentinels to back them up. They're down to less than 15 seconds on the clock to get to this first checkpoint. And with the Raging Royal Flush, that could be more than enough. It won't have a combo though into a duelist ultimate because unfortunately it was desync earlier on, but Flamay slaps Jitward back to the spawn room gates.
Yeah, Jitwood has been able to consistently take Rymazing out of the game and not allow that Cyclops to really benefit from the Raging Royal Flush. But now Rymazing is going to have the Ruby Rage available in like 4% as we're into overtime. Yeah, we lost. Are going to be back up to a full 6, but they are just waiting for that final player to get into this engagement. You win one more fight and it is probably done, and you will win the series, but Yusha gets the opener onto Zatex.
With time of the essence and overtime ticking down, Sentinels 2 have the number advantage right now. Korova using up that charm. The Sia now coming in. And then double actually? They use a Raging Royal Flush together with that Sia because they need anything to deal with Yusher, who is hailing from the skies. The Galactic Legend, everyone's staying alive, and overtime taking down, but they let the Devil out. Rymazing's one shot at the same time, and Dogman keeps everybody rallied together with a Freedom Charge, hailing off of his coattails, but looking at the isolation of their backline trying to stay alive after Jitward finds Crimzo.
And it's going to be 1, 2, 3 for Zatex, which will be enough for Yeah We Lost to shut down Sen,
wow,
deny them, and win the entire series here, marching on in this bracket. Sadly for Sen, they could not even get to the first point here. Yeah We Lost have done their homework on Museum of Contemplation and look like a different team to what we saw in the group stages.
Again, you got a lot more time to work off of where your weaknesses were and not even threatening the defensive hold that Sentinels were trying to hold when they were on the defense with Yeah We Lost. Flipping the script, they got the Rocket Sia, they have the Galactic Legend, and they were able to go back to back with it with Yeah We Lost taking the entire series.
It was looking good for Sen initially as well. They looked like they had answers at the start. The first push also looked good, but they weren't really able to capitalize off the back of it. I will say it was a far better lock and ban phase from Yeah We Lost going into that one. Also, with it being their map pick, they were always going to have that advantage, so naturally they become favorites for it. Although the statistics weren't on their side when it comes to how they had played in group stages, perhaps it was all leading to this moment. It was all preparation, it was all practice, and now they seem to have found their footing here. And it really did go alongside their hero pool here, Vicky. The fact that Jitwood was able to do what Jit was doing on Daredevil, Museum of Contemplation is the perfect playground for that hero.
And Yeah We Lost also being able to match that with the Star-Lord, right? Just, again, with the different iteration, whether you have the Sia on top of the fact that you can help enable Jitward when you have a Raging Royal Flush, just allow them to have their priority targets in line. Great performance here for Yeah We Lost, and of course, this isn't the end of Sentinels, guys, when it comes to playoffs. They will be now having to dive through that lower bracket in a crazy gauntlet run.
Yeah, and I'm sure they would have learned a lot, right? They did look better with every single map, it has to be said. Their lock and bans got a little bit better. They also were utilizing the characters that were actually available to them a lot better the further we got into this series. And it is about rebuilding some of that chemistry as well, as MVP going over to the Rocket Raccoon of Kendrick.
W Kendrick, by the way, like so hard when it comes to trying to get these MVPs, and the fact that Kendrick had so much, whether it be from the BRB, the timing on the Sia, once again making a huge difference between whether you want to capitalize on the bread and butter and following up with a Rage and Royal Flush on the opposing side, or do you have a much more leeway if you do mistime those ultimates and the combos, whether you have a Sia or your own Rage and Royal Flush. Going crazy here, 45.4k healing as we take a look at the highlights of the series.
And ultimately, remember, there was a big decision to be made for Yeah We Lost. Do they ban the Rocket Raccoon or do they ban the Cyclops? They opted to get rid of Rocket, give themselves their own Rocket, and it really did show really how prominent the Sia is, and the BRB, as you mentioned, and how much he can give you the advantage in those fights as well. Sadly, for the side of Sen, they didn't have that same kind of oomph behind them, especially considering every time they got the Raging Royal Flush, well, not every time, a couple of times, Rymazing was destroyed from the game by Jitwood, at times was focusing him, and we didn't see the Raging Royal Flush plus the Ruby Rage, which can be such an incredible combo.
And then you kind of deny that away from like saving it to allow Yusha to shine, and that's why the shutdown happened. And there was a little to no time for Sentinels to regroup right after that and trying to boost that up so that way they could time it right, because if anything, Yeah We Lost once again just had that timing in the combos way better for those last 3 fights, even following up with the way that they were able to play through our 4 different maps. First time, I know it's the second series alone in playoffs, but the fact that we were able to go to a map number 4 should also be the highlight for you Sen City fans to note that the adaptations were happening, but Yeah We Lost, with the flexibility that they have and the way that they were able to answer back, just had it better.
Yeah, the signs are there for Sentinels, and again, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but clearly, with no Oasis, it was always going to be a different game today. It was always going to be about trying to put things together with the new substitute coming in. That being said, I think they did look better as each game went on, and I'm excited to see how their lower bracket run is. Now, for Yeah We Lost, they move in to the next round of the upper bracket here, and as I was saying earlier, 1 match away from making it to mid-season finals if you can get into that top 3, which would be huge for Yeah We Lost. I would love to see them make it to international competition, but of course, still a lot to do, especially with the bracket they find themselves on. They'll have to go up against TLC for that spot initially, and we've already seen how incredible Team Liquid Citadel look here.
It's not going to be easy, but a very entertaining team to follow, and with very unorthodox compositions that we keep getting entertained by here, Gaskin. It's going to be interesting, but very difficult. As Yeah We Lost, I'm sure they're prepped and ready. They saw that first series between Liquid Citadel versus FlyQuest. But you know, the action has not stopped for this team too. You look at Sentinels and the gauntlet run that they now have to make over on that lower side. It's crazy to say, like, just FlyQuest, I mean, it was really difficult first opposition, but FlyQuest and Sentinel now falling down to that bracket.
Yeah, FlyQuest and Sentinels both looking pretty good in the lower bracket as well, but we do have an interview as well. We've got Xantho, who's going to be coming in to have a little bit of a chat with us after an impressive performance for Yeah We Lost, Vicky. Xantho, thank you for coming in and having a little chinwag with us. I do appreciate it. Firstly, let's talk about those lock and bans, because it did feel like you were targeting the strategists of Sentinels to begin with here.
I mean, yeah, I just have to look at, like, what you think the best options are. Like, there's so many DPS, like, sometimes you can ban, you know, I'm sure you've seen in the past, like, you ban Psylocke or Phoenix in, like, previous metas, but I like this to really, like, support dominated meta, and when you limit their options, it can really make it a lot easier to make a game plan and predict what they're going to do.
Hey, thank you so much, Xantho. First off, by the way, we saw you cheesing while going in for a flanking position onto the Luna with a damage boost on yourself. All right, we all caught that, King. But congratulations once again against Sentinels. I mean, you look ahead and you talk about, you know, how focusing on how the strategist play has been infiltrating itself into the current meta, and you're dealing with Team Liquid Citadel. How are you feeling playing against your next opponents in the upper bracket semis?
I mean, it's definitely a tough match. You know, they're one of the best teams in America, if not the world. But I mean, we've shown we've beat them before. We beat them on a map, and we've come really close to beating them on some other maps. And I think that if we can really show up and really play our best, like if we all lock in, our comms lock in, we really like focus on just ourselves and how we're playing, I think we do a really good shot at taking them down.
I mean, without a shadow of a doubt, you guys are my favorite team to watch, because you always have a little bit of spice about you. There's always something a little bit different, whether it's in the lock and ban phase, whether it's with the heroes you're playing. Now, when it comes to Museum of Contemplation, in group stages, you guys went 0-3, which was a bit of a surprise for me, and then you pick it here today. How was the preparation, and what was the decision to bringing that to the table today?
I mean, I think we're just really comfortable on that map. You know, it's just, I don't know exactly what it is, but it just works well for the shenanigans. We just know what we're doing, know where we're gonna go, like, and I think we definitely, especially with like some new pickups in the preseason, like we weren't on the right footing, but I think we're really back on our feet now, and I think that it is still a really comfortable map for us, and I think it's just always a safe bet for us to go there.
It's very obvious to see how you guys are really flexible too, right? Whether it be Kendrick being on that rocket, getting so much done, that healing output was insane. I mean, can you talk to us, without revealing too much, of course, a little bit about, like, I actually ran into affecting in ladder, like, the other day, and just how that goes hand in hand with the way that you guys develop more of that adaptation between, you know, Kendrick and you lining up for the strategist backline here for Yeah We Lost.
I mean, I think it just all comes down to versatility, like, just... I think Kendrick is a very versatile player, and I think that having him, especially for someone that plays the other roles, playing a hero like White Fox or even like Rocket, you know, like he really gets busy in all the heroes he plays, and it's really fun to play support with someone like that, because I know that he's not gonna, you know, sit there, like he's gonna fight back, and I know that if I fight back too, then that's a really good shot of us winning.
And especially with a player like Kendrick, you've also got the chance that he can move on to the Strange as well. Like, that's a very exciting factor with the Portal players coming in later on. Congratulations again for you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Firstly, where can we find you on socials, and do you have any final shout-outs for any of your fans or teammates?
I mean, my Twitter and Twitch is Xanthophobic1. I don't think I have any other shout-outs other than just my team. You know, I think we all played great today. We really locked in. Our comms were instruction. We had great comm structure. Like, just everything felt like it flowed really well. We had some great versatility, some great swaps, some great, just every good plays all around. So shout out to my team.
I mean, they deserve it. You all played amazing. Best of luck in your next matchup, and thank you again for jumping on, bud.
Yeah, of course. See you.
See you later. That's going to be Xantho, everyone, from Yeah We Lost, as they rock out a 3-1 victory over Sentinels. Our first upset, I guess, Vicky. I mean, with what's going on in the back with Sentinels, perhaps this could have been expected. That being said, when we look at the performance in group stages, Yeah We Lost, definitely with the underdogs coming into this one.
Yeah, and it's great because we still have a lot more action on our hands, Gaskin. We got 2 more